You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Colbert. Back, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
The folks in the YouTube chat were lost without you. Thank God. I was worried we lost you to the road, Joey. What Tay says.
I was not succumbed to the interstate system in the great country of the U.S.
But you did experience the interstate system
lot of it.
in America.
A lot of it.
You also experienced what I deem to be the worst 2 hours of any road trip, which is the last 2 hours of any trip that is east of here. The west of Des Moines to the Missouri River. It is the worst thing I could imagine.
It is awful, especially in the daylight, because all you see is just absolutely nothing, and you're just trying to get that final stretch done and getting home.
I can't really explain it, but it always feels like whatever point you're at in that stretch, it always feels like you should be closer to Omaha. And I can't really explain why. I don't know why. But it always feels like there's no way that this gap should be this large.
That phenomenon largely exists for most of your drives that are longer, that you still have, like if you were coming from the west that you hit Grand Island, you're probably going to feel the same thing.
I don't feel that way
because it feels a lot faster going from Grand Island to Omaha than it is going from Des Moines to Omaha. Because you're starting from Grand Island and you just got to get to Lincoln.
Because it's 5 miles an hour faster on the West Iowa drivers.
Joey, I actually think you're onto something. There's nothing there. There's not that there's a whole lot of stuff between Grand Island and Omaha. But there's nothing.
There's
get
more
the Brett light to the exit to Lincoln.
There's an extra city to get through.
Pan.
Right.
There's an extra city to get through when you're passing through Grand Island. You got Lincoln next, and then after Lincoln, it's going to be another 30 minutes until you hit the Omaha Metro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Buc-ee's eventually.
Eventually, Buc-ee's and
that'll be a huge turning point for a lot of people. A lot of people's western road trips. That'll be a huge deal.
It'll be big. Yeah, I totally get it. I thought when you said that you were talking about the other potential 2 hours in the drive that Joey had, which is when you hit the edge of Chicago and then to get through that stretch, if you hit any kind of traffic, that is murderous. If you're driving around Chicago, it's awful.
It is. And we got up, so we were in Michigan for a very special event, but on our way back, we got up at about 2 in the morning Eastern time, so it's 1 o'clock over here. Left at 2:50, so it's 1:50 over here. Got back just a few minutes after it hit noon.
Oh, wow. Great job!
We made great time. We got into Chicago just around Gary, Indiana, about 5 a.m. Got out of that around, I would say,
you beat the morning traffic.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, traffic was moving real smooth. I mean, there's a lot of crazy drivers in that area. You're just swerving around, just trying to maneuver the semi trucks that were waking up at that time.
Good job by you, Joey.
I was the one driving. I was keeping my.
Well, I mean, still to wake up at 1:30 in the morning or whatever it was. Like, I mean, that's.
I'm surprised.
Knowing there was a Celtics potential, move on game.
Dedication.
So you had to. It wasn't like you could just come home and sleep and wake up and do the show. You had to wake up to watch the Celtics, who did not give him the joy.
Yeah, they did. It's not surprising. They usually not show up in these home playoff games in the past few years. I think they should.
They hate their home fans. This is what I am doing.
I'm guessing that's the case. I think they should play a little more a big shot Bob.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I heard about this. I think it's okay. They're going to advance through the series no matter what.
I'm not concerned.
You can take a game off in the series these days.
I don't know that there's
nothing more NBA than that.
It'd still be nice to get some extra days off because you got the New York Knicks who are now back in rhythm. They're up 3-2 in the Hawks. They handled them well. They got game 6. I think that's on Thursday or Friday. I don't know when they play, but you kind of want to get that advantage on whoever wins that series in terms of rest.
Agreed. I'm thinking about NBA rest too.
I've yet to see anyone think anyone other than the Celtics is winning the East, by the way.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It doesn't help that the number 1 team.
I mean, the Cavs are a good threat. I know they lost their past 2 to the Raptors, and they obviously have James Harden, who's known for choking in the playoffs. He's never been to the NBA Finals since his time at OKC, that lone one with Durant and Westbrook. And then the New York Knicks, you just can't trust them. You really can't. And then we'll see what the Magic can do if they could win that series tonight.
They might
against the Pistons.
They just might and eliminate the Detroit Pistons. There you go. I'm glad our NBA correspondent Joey is back to keep us updated on all things NBA. We get a YouTube comment right off the bat from Debo. Woke up with hate in my heart today. Hate for Seth Davis. Hate for anyone who had a hand in this tournament expansion. We're going to talk about it because it actually, I guess it just took another step toward happening. Was it's another excuse to talk about it. And we have a horrible format for our new horrible 76-team tournament.
Yeah, it moved on along the bureaucracy chain of rubber stamping.
Yeah, I love when they do this because every time they do it, they have to pass it through another wave of negative public opinion, and it never stops them.
Are we doing the right thing? Everyone screams no in unison. Moving on.
They're just going to keep pushing it forward. So that is one of the things we'll get to today. Our guests on this Wednesday morning, Sam Mchuan will join us at 8:30. Lauren Michaelelsson will join us at 9:15. And Creighton baseball coach Mark Kingston will join us at 9:00 to talk some baseball. We'll touch on yesterday. That was bad. It was bad. Kids' Day did not go very well. But I did
terrible.
I did hear from some parents or from some teachers yesterday who were in my mentions because I was trying to impress the kids by my 6'7" knowledge. Here's a teacher who says, I'm a teacher in that chaos we've gone through the past 5 years. Although we take our middle schoolers and it's almost more chaotic than the younger kids, it's always worth it. It's so much fun to see the younger kids have the best time. I thought that was really sweet. 8,500 kids.
It's incredible.
From 60 plus schools.
That is so incredible.
For an attendance of over 10,000 yesterday.
Also feels like a nightmare in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I was clear from it, which was great.
You were up in your box in the sky.
I was up in my little castle, king of the castle. You cannot touch this. You will never get this.
You'll never get this. You'll never get this.
And they did not, which was great. But there was a lot of loud noises throughout the game. And then the weird part is they, as like 1 o'clock hits, 1:30, 2 o'clock hits, like they start to go away. And then by the end of the game, there's like literally nobody there. There's like 40 people there. And it's just like, and Creighton's losing by 100. They're almost getting run ruled by North Dakota State. And we're like, oh man, take a picture right now. This is as bad as it gets, I think. So we'll talk to Coach Kingston today about that, about some we have some Dolphins questions for him, obviously. We have some eligibility questions we're going to talk about, I think, a little bit as well. So a lot of stuff that we'll cover with Coach Kingston coming up at 9 o'clock today. That is our lineup. We would like to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at @HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Mike at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers. Good morning.
They are active.
Yeah, morning. We love it. Sal says, love being the first leg driver. You're fresh. The excitement of the trip fuels you. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I love being the driver, point blank, period. I'm rarely not the driver. Very rarely not the driver.
I'm usually the navigator.
Okay. Schaefer, what are you?
Really just depends on what the situation is.
Passenger princess?
Very like
Sit in the
I
back
guess
seat.
sometimes if it's a trip with my friends, more than likely I've got a friend who feels very strongly about driving.
Okay.
I'm fine just being a passenger. If it's a family trip, I'm always driving.
Okay.
So,
Like your nuclear family.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, it's really just situationally dependent.
Okay.
I'm fine in either role. I don't have like a strong opinion either way.
All right.
Like it really doesn't matter. I
Well, we
suppose
cover all the bases here.
depending on what city I'm driving, like I'm still not someone who would be fired up to drive in New York City.
Oh, come on. It's a
Yeah, no, I
thrill.
I would not want to drive
I don't
in
think
that
I have
city.
the interest in it.
It's an absolute rush.
In one, I don't want to be in a car. When I've been there, the least amount of time I can be in a car, the better.
Yeah, I know. I don't want you. What I'm in my brain, it's not like gridlock. Like you're not just stopped on the road. Like traffic is, and there are times, believe it or not, where the traffic does move throughout the day. Like I want to put you there.
I don't know those taxis or Ubers from the airport to Brooklyn where I'm going.
It's hard.
It has felt like we don't move at all.
It's a challenge.
You would have to go.
And then
like,
when
in the
we
middle of the
move, we
night.
move in ways that mystify me. As he weaves in and out of the openings of the gridlock.
You just got to trust him.
I have no.
They know.
no
They,
choice.
they
You're
know
in
what
the
they're
car.
doing. They know what they're doing. They're
Although
honking with their.
I still
with
give
the
them
other
5
cars.
stars and a $2 tip though.
I was gonna say, although you should tell the New York cabbies to take like a different route, like take a route that you know about.
We really
It'd be
don't interact.
It'd be really, really funny.
I just sit in the back.
First question he asked, he's like, "Hey, where are you from?" It's like, "I'm from Nebraska." Have you ever been here before? Yeah, like once or twice, maybe. I go to Times Square, and then he tries to take you to like Midtown or whatever, and you're like, "Hey, can you take this way? Can you can you take? I want to see this cool Britain." Don't tell him that. That would work out poorly for you. David had some advice on how to properly handle the travel back from the east. He says you got to stop in West Des Moines, grab some fluffy tacos, and throw a game on the phone. I used to drive it to Des Moines every Sunday and just watch Sunday Night Baseball where my speedometer is. Cruise control was clutch.
No, what I do is just count the mile markers because it's going from 122 to 1, and that tells you how far you are from crossing that Missouri River.
Yeah, but doesn't that make it longer if you're actually counting that?
It honestly doesn't. It kind of makes things a little faster in terms of time. You're counting in your head, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, my brain doesn't want to be involved in counting.
Yeah, I want to look up like after 30 minutes and see that I have traveled a great distance.
So speaking of long road trips, so on our way over, we got stuck in a part in road construction. So we were kind of blocked in barrier wise. There's like a concrete barrier on the right side, and then there's like road construction on the right. There was a crash that blocked the 2 lanes that we were driving on. We were stuck in a standstill traffic. We stayed there for like a half an hour, and then I think we were in the left lane. Then I guess an Amazon truck driver noticed that we were right on an exit and then guided people out.
Oh,
so we were able to avoid staying there for like an extra half an hour because I guess the crash was really bad and it involved with the semi truck.
Oh no. Boy. Shout out to the Amazon driver though, paving the way.
Had to go through a small town in Michigan to get around.
They call them townships sometimes in Michigan.
It wasn't a township though.
That was just a town.
It was just a town.
How do they
Too
tell the
big to be a
difference?
ship.
Well, I mean, we do. What was that town called? We do need a city of the day.
It's Fair Plains.
Fair Plains, Michigan. The town that
Right
Joey
now,
went
it's a
through
possibility.
on its detour on his trip. to
It's a
Michigan.
real possibility.
Okay, well,
Could be.
put it in the book. Mike writes in, Connor just rides the high of stealing restaurant salsa in Des Moines. You know, it's funny. I just used the last drop of my Flavor Cano. Actually, it was the Green Aid from Pancheros yesterday off of my last year's sauce heist. Well, I'm out. Sauce Heist 2026 is
So you gotta
coming.
hit Pancheros to steal more sauce?
Yeah, August 1st. You know about my yearly Sauce Heist?
No,
right?
I'm not familiar actually.
Yeah, so we play our little.
I'm familiar with that.
We play our golf tournament in Dubuque,
Yep.
and then we drive back across the state of Iowa on Sunday. By the time it's lunchtime, we stop in the Des Moines area for Pancheros, and we how they put the actual bottles of sauce out on the counter at Pancheros. You just take a few.
The biggest thing I respect here is that you have a specific like Pancheros that you hit on your way back.
Actually, we hit a different one last year. We surprised some people, I think.
Oh, wow.
That's why they didn't catch us. It's part of the reason why they didn't catch us. But yeah, we can mark our calendar to it every year. This year it'll be August 2nd, the morning of the morning / early afternoon of August 2nd.
Of our many trips across Iowa for driving out to games with Husker 24/7, we would always hit the Burrito Bandit in Des Moines.
Is that what David is talking about? Do you think he said get a fluffy taco?
I don't think. Well, they might do that there. I don't know what he means specifically with the fluffy taco.
I'm not sure,
but Burrito Bandit has been clutch.
I haven't experienced really any Des Moines cuisine. I've never really taken a trip to Des Moines. I've been to Des Moines a couple times, but I've never taken a trip to Des Moines.
It's just a drive-through city for me.
Yeah,
get in and get out.
Yeah.
People do like it. There's apparently some good food.
Great place to spend a weekend. And then people with kids say that there's lots of stuff to do with kids.
Well, obviously the amusement park.
Yeah, I mean it could be on the list of things to do.
I've played several baseball games there. I stopped over there once on my way to an Iowa-Michigan football game when I was a child, and stopped there to get food on road trips. And that's pretty much it.
I played at the casino one time on my way up to watch Brett Favre play in 2009. Because I had just turned 21, and so it was one of the first 21 casino visits. You used Mystic Lake up in Minnesota, you only had to be 18, so I've been there a couple times already. And then I've been to Zombie Burger in Des Moines, which somehow I ended up there, and that's like a notable place, or had been. I don't know if it still exists.
I feel like I've heard that before. The other one I hear is the barbecue place, Jethro.
Yeah, I hear it's a place.
I have been there too.
Okay,
I've been there too.
All right. Sidlar writes in, Iowa versus Creighton in Des Moines is going to give us great opportunity to explore Des Moines. That is true. Did that get announced yesterday?
You're announcing it to me right now.
Okay, Joey gave me a yes. I would make sure we're good on that.
I have no idea.
Creighton and Iowa are going to play each other in Des Moines in
a
the sport of
game?
men's basketball this year.
Oh,
yeah.
Kind of a meet in the middle situation.
Pretty close, yeah. They came here a few years ago, and now they're going to play at I think Wells Fargo Arena.
Yeah.
Did somebody say schedules?
That'll be an interesting game because I'm just so fascinated what Iowa basketball looks like post Bennett Sturts right now.
I imagine they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they'll be.
They have one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah, no,
they're going to be all right.
They have an incredible coach. Just that Bennett Sturts the usage rate was insane.
Yeah.
So replacing that is not going to be. So how they replace it, I just have no idea. So a lot of it is wait and see. I'm sure they're going to be very similar to what they were in the past. It's just that they're going to need more of those role players to assume a hell of a lot more.
Sure. Yeah. I'm really not concerned about them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know that you need to be quivering in fear about Iowa basketball in the end of April.
No, I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated what it looks like because Sturts was so much of that engine.
Do I smell an Iowa season win total?
No, we got to get further down the line on it. But
right.
I'm just kind of somewhat fascinated with what the replacement of it all looks like.
Yeah.
So
I mean, definitely, many people are.
Yeah. Well, and it's
there's
the other guy
a lot to replace
who went and joined your super team.
Oh, I cannot wait to watch Louisville basketball this year. They're going to be. I cannot wait to see how bad they're going to be. It's going to be great. They have so many good. They have so many good players, and they're just going to not answer the bell. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. Elsewhere today on the show, yes, that's right. They ruined the NCAA tournament.
Of course.
I have a baseball segment. As I was listening to the Mike Farron interview yesterday on Unsportsmanlike Conduct, and it made me think that I wanted to ask you some of these questions.
I like
Schaefer. What do you believe? Sean McVay is a genius / really incredible actor, or that he is, doing damage control?
He does appear in Chunky Chicken Noodle Soup commercials.
That is true. That is true.
He is a good actor.
No decision yesterday on the arbitration with the CSC deal. Don't turn off the radio. It's okay. We won't talk about it that much. I just wanted to mention that. Let's see. Nebraska baseball wins in a walk-off last night. Nice job by them. And we'll have some other stuff coming up throughout the show as well. We are pleased that you've decided to join us. We're pleased that Joey has decided to come back from the open roads and he's not on the lam. And we are pleased that everybody is ready to roll on this Wednesday. We're back after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Enter online 1620thezone.com for the Peak Playoffs giveaway. Winner gets a $250 gift card to Twin Peaks. So check that out at 1620thezone.com today. And at some point soon, Unsportsmanlike Conduct will be out at Twin Peaks as well. So stay tuned for that. I don't have the dates in front of me. I'm sure Joey does.
I think it's May 15th. It's on a Friday. It's in the middle. Yeah, it's May 15th.
It's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. May is right around the corner. I thought yesterday once I left the ballpark, I was like, well, the next time I'll be here, it'll be May. May starts on Friday.
It's gonna be May.
We'll have a Cinco de Mayo game with Creighton baseball on Tuesday against the fighting, exciting Kansas Jayhawks, and then one more game left in Nebraska, and then we all go our separate ways, maybe until maybe the regional comes around, and then maybe we're all in the same place.
The bracket sims yesterday did not put them in the same place, but it kept putting you in a place you don't want to go.
Where did it put me?
Norman. You were storming Norman.
Yeah.
Creighton never won their for me. So each time Peter did it, Nebraska would go to the College World Series. Each time I did it, they didn't get out of the Super Regional.
Okay.
So they maybe didn't even get out of the regional either time for me.
We love the bracket sims, and we'll have another couple today.
Some very good Connor World Series, so.
Oh, that's good. Today at the end of the show, so expect that. Also, shout out to Randy, who called Joey and says, hey, check out this place called Fong's in Des Moines, and I am proud to say that I have checked it out, and I am liking what I'm seeing. It is a Chinese place that has pizza. And sometimes it's both at the same time.
Yeah, the photos online look outstanding. The menu just sounds great.
I'm interested in the Mongolian
I'm already
beef.
hungry, and it's 6:27 in the morning.
Also, have you noticed that when we walk in the building, there is ever so slightly a twinge of light in the sky these days? It's pretty exciting. So it's coming.
Yeah, I guess I've kind of noticed it's lighter on the drive in.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Watch out.
A little bit at a time.
It's coming. And Headley, by the way, gives the Fong's place. It's a Headley stamp. Crab Rangoon pizza there slaps. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things we were looking at.
Yes.
For sure. All right, I have a question for you, Schaefer. One out of the two things you have to believe is the truth. Sean McVay is an incredible actor. Decided to act mad or confused on draft night after drafting Ty Simpson, while the whole time actually he loved it and kept their meetings with him secret the entire time. I'll tell you why I'm asking you this in a moment. Or that there is actually a disconnect between the GM and McVay, and now they're just playing it off afterwards. So here is the latest to the story. Ty Simpson yesterday shared with Ian Fitzsimmons on ESPN Radio's Amber and Ian that Sean McVay and Ty Simpson had an extensive meeting before the NFL draft, something he said did not happen, because the big deal on draft night was that they hadn't talked at all, right? Mm-hmm. That was basically how Ty Simpson put it. He said before the draft, on draft night after he was drafted, it was really brief, to be honest with you. I met with some scouts in Alabama, and that was really it. They talked to my agent, but it wasn't really much. But in reality, Simpson said yesterday, he and McVay had one meeting before the draft and, quote, talked for hours and hours. It was just football. It was just straight football. And it was like a kid in a candy store. Me and him sitting there, and we're going back and forth. You could tell the obsession he has for the game, and you could tell the love he has for quarterback play. It's something that I appreciate. It's something that I enjoy because I really enjoy playing the position and value the position. So being with him and then getting to know him and seeing a little bit of how I'd get coached if I was fortunate enough to go there is something I couldn't have asked for a better situation. Though McVay said he, quote, couldn't be more excited about being to add Simpson to the roster, he wanted to make it clear that Stafford will be the Rams quarterback for as long as he wants to play, and then whenever he gets done. So he had some secret meetings with Sean McVay, and Sean McVay told him afterwards, hey, keep it on the QT. Keep it on the down low, baby. Wewe're not talking about this because we don't want the rest of the NFL to know that we like you a lot. It's very, very, very interesting. There's a lot of things at work here.
It seems odd that after you're drafted, where the rest of the NFL can't touch you, that you would still keep up the guys that you had never spent time together. Maybe he just didn't know that he could drop the guys. Maybe he thought their clandestine meetings were of the illicit variety.
Yeah, he wasn't told immediately after the draft, all right, you could drop the crap, like we drafted you, it's over.
That's entirely possible. I also think there's some effort here to clean it up, to make it look a little bit better. I think both things could be partially true to a degree. Certainly McVay's presentation after the draft didn't look like someone that was
not at all
fired up about the pick, which is odd. It'd be odd for him to create some sort of reason to do that too, which leads me to believe that this is more of a post effort to make everything seem hunky-dory.
Simpson says, we tried to keep this under wraps as long as we could. It was something to where I knew they were interested, but they wanted to make it private, and I didn't and didn't want people to know that they were interested.
Everybody knew that they were interested. Like, it was a surprise that he got taken by the Rams in that slot. It wasn't a surprise that the Rams were interested or drafted.
Okay.
So it's like that part of it is odd to me. So I think it's more likely just
maybe what the league didn't know is how interested they were.
Well, yeah, because I don't think
they obviously seem very enamored with him at this point, which honestly, it's so funny because, and this happens all the time. We talked about it on the day after the draft, when guys go to specific teams and you're just like, oh man, they freaking knocked that one out of the park. Like that is a beautiful thing for that franchise in particular, because they always do well with those kinds of players. I don't know that the Rams, I've ever thought that the Rams are necessarily one of those teams, but I do know that it's a really high quality franchise. They've won a lot of games lately in spite of not having draft picks and all these different things. And they've kind of done it their own way. And so I'm not a huge Ty Simpson guy. I certainly wouldn't have drafted him at 13th overall, but since he went to the Rams,
You're allowing for the idea that there's a more successful outcome.
I am now willing.
Than if he would have went to the Jets.
Absolutely. I am now willing to at least open up my mind and say, you know what? I could see a world where Ty Simpson has success in the NFL because he plays for that team in particular.
Yeah, I don't know that I am also not a Ty Simpson guy. I don't know that my brain was ever, this guy's definitely going to be terrible in the NFL. It was more, I wouldn't use a draft pick that highly to take someone that I think is just okay. And it doesn't mean that he couldn't end up being better or the situation couldn't enhance him. I think the thing that fascinates me is that the Rams so rarely have the opportunity to use a first-round pick that it makes me wonder if their GM was like, okay, we need to put our succession plan together here because we have this guy who played all of the games last year with basically a broken back. He's in his upper 30s. There was already talk a year ago that, they might be moving on from each other, and then everything worked out and they go to the NFC Championship game. But then you have a coach where it's like, we were on the doorstep of the playoffs. You want, so I just think there's two warring ideas there. The NFL,
I mean, he really played it. If he was playing it cool all the way through, he really played the hits because like you said, he was like, hey man, and people start to believe this and they start to say it out loud. Like, hey man, we're a contending team right now. We're in probably the last year of our quarterback, which we view to be generational.
Right.
And we need help. We don't need his succession plan. We need help. Like, we want to win football games right now. Does Ty Simpson help us win football games right now? And of course you could swing it around and make the argument that yes, of course he does, because there's just as good of a chance. There's a better chance than any that Stafford gets hurt out of anybody in the league.
Well, so I saw a theory that's out there, and I actually think this is sort of fascinating in itself, where it's like, you can take Ty Simpson and have your succession plan. You can also take Ty Simpson, then you have what you believe to be a relatively high floor backup compared to the market that's currently available, that if Stafford is going to be out for a handful of games, you've got a guy that can operate in an offense at a reasonably average level that the rest of your offense can, carry him up too.
Yep.
And I thought that was sort of an interesting way of all right, you're middling out, you have your succession plan, and you have a backup in place if Stafford does get hurt. that wouldn't just derail your season entirely. So it's it's an interesting way to look at it. I don't know how much better a rookie Ty Simpson is than like insert journeyman Gardner Minshew or whoever you could have gotten, I guess.
Gardner Minshew is a pretty good example. Yeah. Nice.
I mean, he's sort of the one that I go to. He's probably at times has been a high-end backup. At times he's derailed you so badly in a game that you have no chance.
Well, he was going to be the Mahomes replacement, and then he tore his ACL at the end of the season last year. Or maybe it turned out that he didn't. Wasn't there something?
He didn't tear his ACL, but he did something.
Yeah,
right?
he's hurt, but they ended up getting Fields.
Right. Well, and then now Minshew is with the Cardinals, so they have a weird quarterback room of Brissett, which they brought back because they like how he played last year. Even though the team only won one game, and he did play well. Then you have Minshew, and then you have Carson Beck.
Actually, Jacoby Brissett is the perfect guy. Let's just just back up the backup quarterback of the NFL, like replacement level quarterback. You need a guy. Jacoby Brissett is your guy. That's what I call him.
I mean, it's fair.
Yeah,
it's fair.
And so is Ty Simpson like a clear upgrade over that? I don't know, but I think
he's in the realm of that.
But the thing that he brings you is like, okay, he's not only that, he is also potentially your future answer at the position, which is what we know Jacoby Brissett is not.
I don't know why that's getting me each time.
That's what I've called him that for like a decade now.
The thing
Join
is, you pass up on the tight end that goes to the Jets. You pass up on Michaelelsson who goes to the Eagles. Those were kind of the two names that everybody was sort of expecting there. I guess in my mind, if you're going to take this swing with your first round pick and maybe you're going to trade your next first round pick like you always do for something else, or if you have the ability, you can sign one of these, like maybe Tyreek Hill is going to take a vet minimum to go be a wide receiver for the Rams. I mean, there's other avenues to it. It's just the way that it played out publicly looks so bizarre.
I'm just inclined to go along with this with McVay. I am. I maybe I'm a sucker, but I just am inclined to believe him and that he's some sort of like evil genius just toying with everything behind the scenes and having everybody out on the string.
Seem like him though.
I don't know. He's so smart.
He is very smart.
He's probably thinking 9 steps ahead of everybody. I don't know.
Probably already thinking about his like what he's going to call next year for his opening script, and then has it memorized.
Yeah.
And then they get to their first practice.
Now, like you said,
just recites it.
I don't know that he needed to do this. I don't know that he needed to be all secretive about the fact that they really like Ty Simpson. But
again, everybody, it wasn't a secret. People knew that you liked Ty
I'm just inclined to believe him. I'm just inclined to be like, oh yeah, no, we wanted to do this the whole time. We were meeting with him in private, and we absolutely are enamored with this guy, and we love him, and we're the only team in the league that apparently was enamored with him, and we do not care. Like now you're putting yourself out there a little bit, obviously, but I am once again inclined to believe that there is a success path for him because the franchise has done some really good things lately. I mean, that's kind of it, which is funny because there's a thread of comments going on our YouTube right now. It's like, how did the Rams become this? The artist formerly known as the St. Louis Rams, which were a disaster. Like they
have arguably one of the 3 best coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, that certainly is a good start.
I mean, I don't even know. I said 3, and it's like, okay, who am I taking over him at this point? And I don't know. I don't know.
Not anybody that I can think of.
I think it's just McVay. Like he might just be the number 1 coach, and it's interesting. They've won 1 Super Bowl with him. They've been to 2. They've been to multiple NFC Championship games. I just have so much respect for like what he's done, how he's rebuilt them, how he's done it in different ways offensively.
And yes, they were tanking in St. Louis.
Well, I mean,
they're losing on purpose.
There's going to be that in any sort of run of a franchise, but you get the right people in place. They clearly have a good front office. They do a great job drafting. Like when they do take their swings, they get Jared Verse, and he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They get theyese guys, and they're Puka Nacua is one of the great examples of how good the Rams can trade their top pick and then go find stars in the middle of the draft, where you have other GMs, namely that reside in Minnesota, that can't draft anybody in between picks 2 and 7.
Debo is still mad about what they did in St. Louis, run by the same guys who are running it now, scumbags. It's amazing that it is run by the same guys who are running it now. They sucked so bad, and they were like attempting to lose for
They
that
just don't like St. Louis.
period of time. Yeah, obviously that's
So they're like the
trying to force their way
version of
out.
Sam Presti or whatever, the process guy from the 76ers.
No, Presti's great. You're talking about
not Presti. Who am I thinking of?
Yeah.
Presti's a Thunder GM. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
Okay, I had that wrong entirely.
Harris?
No, it was
Daryl Morey.
No, who's the process guy?
Who was
for
the process
76ers?
guy?
Oh, Joel Embiid?
No. They're
He's
GM.
part of the process. So was Ben
Oh,
Simmons. They lost on purpose for years, tanked their franchise.
Sam Hinkie.
I knew it was Sam.
Sam Hinkie. Yeah.
So this is like the better version of it. except
Yeah,
for
it's like it
Debo.
actually worked.
If you're a citizen of St. Louis, you probably hate them.
Yeah,
Which I
except
can
for
understand and respect.
instead of having Joel Embiid, they had Aaron Donald. It's a lot better, folks.
They got a guy that
I think that is such an insult to Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I know.
To even be in the same sentence as a guy who could barely get on the court for half of his game.
Awful. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back around at the hour. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620. We're back after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. The magic carpet ride of Nebraska baseball rolls on as they come back. And there was, I mean, it was close the entire way. K-State took that 2-run lead. And I don't know, Schaefer, like I never really felt like Nebraska was going to lose yesterday. It's kind of just one of those things. Not that K-State's bad. I mean, they'd already beaten Nebraska this year. It just kind of feels like, yeah, Nebraska's at home. They're going to find a way to push 1 or 2 across in the 9th inning, and they sure did.
I know exactly what you mean, because I basically put this topic together as the game was going on, and then even just included the score right when I did it, so that way I could reference back to it as like, all right, well, they ended up winning anyways. And some of it is just because, and this is sort of what I wanted to get into, though I think it's going to shift into something else, is Nebraska's pitching just, there's something about it that gives me a lot of pause about their ability to win a regional or, do some real damage.
Pitching anxiety.
And I don't know that they have enough to get to Jay-Sean Unger, which is what the real topic should probably be, because that guy has just been phenomenal.
Yeah. He had like a little speed bump and then right back to it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, last 17 innings, he's given up 2 runs. I think his whip is just under 1 in that time. I don't know how many strikeouts exactly, because I didn't know how many he had yesterday. I hadn't looked at the box score. He's at 13 in those 17 innings, I think, coming in without looking at yesterday's 2 innings. I don't know how many he had in that, but that guy, and I know it's a relief pitcher is almost never going to be an MVP. They can't do it themselves.
Well,
but his ability,
Schwellenbach was that one year.
Well, he also played shortstop.
He did, and hit third.
That was
so yeah, that was good.
But the thing about Unger that just stands out to me is that if Nebraska basically can just get him the ball in the 8th inning in all of these scenarios, either leading, you're in a really good spot, tied, very good spot, trailing by 1 or 2 runs, still a pretty good spot. And Kansas is about the only time
2 innings, 2 strikeouts,
where it didn't. Yeah. So then 15 strikeouts in 17 innings and 2 runs allowed and a sub-1 whip, and I think he's given up 7 hits in that stretch. Like, he's just been really, really good, and that just gives you such a lift, especially when you have this offense to just sort of Jason Voorhees. You can't kill it enough. It just keeps coming back on you. He's just been so good in a year where Mac Moyer has been a really big surprise, and Dylan Carey has enjoyed being a senior and just dominating at the plate. Overbeek has come up with big hit after big hit in late innings. He had the double to get things going in the 9th inning before Stokes brought him in. Jay-Sean Unger, who made all of 1 appearance a year ago, has just emerged as an absolute weapon for Nebraska baseball.
Okay, so wait a minute.
A couple times.
So yeah, he's really, really good. So wait a minute. Are you concerned or are you not concerned?
So I'm concerned about everything that gets to Jay-Sean Unger. Okay. Like, it's you don't have a Friday night starter right now. So you've really only got one pitcher that has consistently thrown well, most of the year, and that's Carson Jasa. Gavin Blachowicz has been pretty solid. Cooper Katsky is all over the map at the moment. And then Ty Horn, you moved from the Friday spot, so he's actually been pretty valuable for them in this release.
Yeah, I think that's your answer.
I wonder if he ends up going back to the Friday role, or if you'd rather have him available for multiple games across a tournament or certainly a super regional.
No, I think that's your like silver bullet guy. I mean, not Unger. Right. But the guy who, if you're, I mean, there's so many scenarios. This is baseball, and
right.
this is part of the reason why I'm not like particularly worried. Yeah, chances are you're going to need 1 or 2 more guys to just have nice performances on any given day, but you're going to lean on guys you trust, and those would be those 3 starters, and then Jay-Sean Unger, and then I think having the added benefit of Horn. So like if you're down 5-3 in the 5th inning of a regional winners bracket game, you're 1-0 in the regional and you need to get to that 2-0 game, and you're down, like, put Horn in there for as long as he can go, or there's a spot where Horn is just a straight up setup man, like he just pitches the 8th and gets it to Unger in the 9th, or just pitches the 7th.
I mean, you might be in a world where you're pitching the 6th and 7th to get it to Unger in the 8th and 9th.
So I think there are just certain things that you think about right now that you think about it a lot differently in winner take all games or tournament formats and stuff like that, because you could just say, yeah, I mean, Jay Sean Unger, if we need him to throw 3 innings today, we're going to ask him to do that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to be okay with that because he's our best guy. And if we're going to lose, you're going to have to beat our best guy.
Yeah,
You know?
I definitely think that's all true. I just worry that you get into this sort of setting, whether it's Big Ten tournament, which doesn't matter as much, or certainly in the regional, or if you continue to advance, you're going to have some of those other relievers step up. You're going to need people to be more reliable than what they are.
Well, you got a great, you've gotten like random great Caleb Clark performances before.
And same with Jalen Worthley.
Yeah.
And, you've just got to hope that those guys, if you're flipping a coin on it, whether it's a 50-50, what version of him you're going to get, you got to hope it keeps coming up heads or
and like
tails when we were doing the coin flipping and it never stopped being the same thing.
That was funny. Yeah. This only comes up though, like if you go to, if you're trying to battle your way back in a regional, or if you're in game 7 of a regional,
yeah, I mean,
cause it's going to stay within the confines of your top 3 or 4 guys. Other than that,
in theory, if your Friday night starter can't give you more than 2 innings, which has been a problem for about 4 weeks now, that becomes a whole issue with tournament.
What's the meme with the Flex Seal, the Billy, and he's got the flex and he slaps the Flex Seal on the water. It just says Ty Horn.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but then he's unavailable potentially to be used in other ways. Like it's
but he's flexing that seal.
Yeah.
He's sealing that flex.
The perfect world is that you get just enough that you more or less can use Ty Horn whenever you need to in a regional, and then you have Unger at your disposal whenever.
I think that's part of it. So my concern level is not very high for.
Well, yeah, but your concern level wouldn't be high if you want the Connor World Series. I want the College World Series. So we're talking about 2 different things here.
That's not the College World Series. You want the Nebraska World Series.
No, I want Nebraska in the College World Series.
I want the Connor World Series.
We know.
All right, let's take a break. The NCAA tournament is ruined, and we'll discuss it after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, 7 o'clock. Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you on the Zone Radio Network. The Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes is still on, powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. You can improve your golf game, get better equipment, get a membership, or pay the course because they have realized that you've taken too many divots out and you've created a large hole in the fairway from trying to hit one shot. Whatever you want to do with your 5K, it's up to you. Powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. Contest runs through May 19th. And the Green for Green 5K sweepstakes. Check it out, 1620thezone.com for your way to enter today. The NCAA basketball tournament is going to be different. And college basketball is going to be different. This news... I mean, I don't know when the actual final stage of this is, but it's being put through another rung of leadership, I suppose, or committee or whatever it might be.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, it's getting passed through, and every time it gets passed through, people are saying no, and then they just keeps on getting passed through. Pete Thamel reported yesterday. I want to read some things from this to see how the NCAA wants to frame this, because obviously that's who Pete Thamel is talking to here. The expansion, which has been 76 teams, by the way, which has been discussed for well over a year, is on track to be formalized in the upcoming weeks and would begin this coming season. Sources indicated mid-May as a potential timeline for an announcement. Though there are still steps to take in terms of approvals via various NCAA committees, the source indicated that those are just formalities. They have what they need to move forward. They met with media partners of the tournament last week. The sides were in the final steps of the media contracts, but they had not signed them yet. Expanding the basketball tournaments would require approval from multiple NCAA committees, including the men's and women's basketball committees, and no final recommendations or decisions have been made at this time. That's what they said in a statement. Now, here's this part of it. The expansion is not expected to be a financial windfall for the NCAA and its members, but sources stress there would be a profit. The added finances would cover the additional logistics cost for both the men's and women's tournaments. The additional NCAA units would come into play and still deliver a modest financial upside. The primary driver of this move has not been money, but rather access. For at-large bids, for power conferences. The expansion has been pushed by power conferences, which have grown throughout the course of the current deal. So the power conferences decided that they had not had enough food on the table for Thanksgiving by just ruining the college football playoff. They also wanted to ruin the NCAA basketball tournament as well. Thank you, college leaders and power conference leaders. You've done a nice job again.
The worst part about this is it comes at a time where power conference basketball is probably going to be riding even higher, with the transfer portal usurping a lot of the talent that's in the smaller conferences and just sort of preventing those teams from building, teams that consistently play and stay together and can grow and then become dangerous in a tournament setting like that. So instead, we'll get more power conference teams in a conference that's looking to be even more power conference heavy already. Not in a tournament, looking to be even more power conference heavy already.
For an example, here's how it would have looked last year should you have had the format that they are proposing for this 76-team tournament. Basically, what they're telling us is that instead of the 2 play-in games each day on Tuesday and Wednesday of the NCAA tournament, there will be 6 each day. Which
seems necessary.
Yeah, it's very, very, very important. I saw Seth Davis on Twitter saying, but it makes Tuesday and Wednesday better. Nobody cares about Tuesday and Wednesday. In fact, I hate that Tuesday and Wednesday exists as a college. Like, I love college basketball, but around the tournament, we all become casuals, right? Like we all become casuals about the NCAA tournament because we don't know about most of the teams in the NCAA tournament. And so what happens on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm tangentially watching, like I'm a little in and out. I'm maybe trying to think about, if the game is fun, I'm into it, obviously. And that's not going to change with the current format that we have right now, but it throws off the rhythm of the entire thing. And then you have this of the actual, the statistics behind it. So it would have looked like this as far as the NCAA seeded it this year. You'd have a play-in with 3 of the 11 seed games, which would have been the 2 that already happened, SMU, Miami of Ohio, and then Texas and North Carolina State. Another 11 seed play-in game between Auburn and San Diego State, teams that did not make the tournament this year. And then 12 seed play-in Indiana, Oklahoma, 12 seed play-in Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, 13 seed play-in Arizona State and Cal. And then you would have your AQ play-ins between all of the 16s and then a couple of the 15s as well, which minimizes the low major conferences chance to actually advance in the tournament, because they have to win not 1 but 2 games just to get their not 0 but 1 game just to get their hands on a 1 seed or on a 2 seed. And you are giving, for example, Arizona State or Cal in these 13 seed play-in games the same amount of opportunity to actually make the field of 64, which is what everybody cares about anyway, as teams that are seeded 2 lines higher than them, such as Texas or whatever, who made the Sweet 16 this year, which that doesn't make any, like Ryan Hammer pointed this out yesterday. He said, other than undeserving teams getting in, expanding the at-large play-ins make the seeding illogical. 13 ASU versus 13 Cal with an equal chance of getting into the field of 64 as Texas and NC State, both 11 seeds, makes 0 sense. With only 4 at-large play-in teams in the current setup, those 4 are essentially dead, even on ranking/seeding. Now having 12 of them play adds so much disparity between them. Another reason why this is done. So for those of the people who are saying, yeah, but we're starting at 76, we're just adding to the plan and we're going to get to 64 anyway. But you're also fundamentally changing the 64. You're fundamentally changing the 64.
And think about it on this side.
And you're fundamentally changing the regular season and conference tournaments of college basketball.
You also have now created almost no advantage between being a 4 seed and being a 6 seed. You're playing the same caliber of team.
That's correct.
You're getting there's a big difference between a Troy and a Texas and facing them in this setting. And now what you're saying is, instead of Troy, you would be getting Arizona State or Cal, who are on the similar, if not same line as those 11 seeds, which then negates why it even matters to be a 4, a 5, or a 6, because you're all getting the same type of teams anyway.
Agreed.
So you get almost...
and the higher potential for those lower seeds, the Arizona State in this situation, like the 13 seed play-in winner. Yeah. Like we've seen it over and over again. Those teams get comfortable. They play an NCAA tournament game. They win an NCAA tournament game. They have a better chance to win their next NCAA tournament game.
So then,
like you said, against a 4 or a 5 or a 6.
In Arizona State, the caliber of an Arizona State or a Cal, like Arizona State beat Kansas earlier this year. Like that was a 13-4 matchup, if you would. And so like that certainly happened.
They don't deserve to, like the fundamental disagreement here, I think, with the people who are in charge of this and the people who just watch the sport, is that we the people don't believe that sub 500 conference power conference teams are tournament quality and caliber. We do not believe that.
The teams being left off don't have a big enough argument to be put in.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the whole thing.
We do not believe that those teams are NCAA tournament worthy. Now, what they're telling us is that simply because they are in high major conferences, they are NCAA tournament worthy, because most of their losses are to this and this and this. And we got, like, I can't help but think, and don't get me wrong here, I love the metrics as much as anybody. I do. And we talk about them all the time and how much movement there is and all that stuff late in the year. But we cannot look at this from a metric standpoint. Like an exclusively metric standpoint, Because if you do so, then you're going to think, yeah, everybody in the Big 12 is really good. And everybody in the SEC that one year where 11 SEC teams made the NCAA tournament is really good.
Because there's no room to move down when you lose.
Exactly.
It's such a flawed system.
It's
what I
simply
get so mad
not
about
the case.
with like this whole, and I use the SEC as an example, but Big 12 basketball works for Big 10 basketball. If SEC basketball with, Auburn, like you lose 16 games. You are a team that's barely above 500. It should matter that you're barely above 500 more than the fact that your metrics look good, that your 16 losses, 15 of them come against teams that are in the top 70 of the RPI.
Yeah.
But that's hooray for you. You're still not winning those games. Like, what are we rewarding?
Yeah.
You reward teams that win. Like, that's the whole point of having an exclusive tournament. If everybody gets to be in the tournament, just put them all in, start the tournament in mid-December, and then watch it play out.
I mean,
that's your sport.
Don't give them the opportunity to do that, Schaefer. Don't say that out loud because they'll do it.
I mean,
I honestly feel like this is a step toward that. Like, I think this gets worse. I really do.
There's like a part of me that's like, okay, you're doing this, and then is it going to be you're going to have these teams that play for the final spots, so they all have to play each other earlier? So then that way they get into the actual tournament. That makes more sense than what they're doing.
I cannot believe what I read in that story. And once again, financial, because everybody views this as a money grab, right?
Right.
And what they're saying is, no, it's not a money grab. And they're trying to excuse it away by saying, oh, no, this is about access. That's worse. Why are you saying that publicly? Why are you saying that out loud?
Because I think that's what it is.
You have all the access.
That's what Greg Sankey, he wants more. He doesn't want Oakland in there.
I cannot believe
they don't want AQs for little conferences to begin with.
I cannot believe that these people, I mean, you're in this position, you're Greg Sankey or you're Tony Petitti or you're whatever conference commissioner. Why
Jim
are
Phillips,
like
is he the ACC guy?
Yeah, former Northwestern guy,
Brent Yormark. Those are the four,
formerly known as Val Ackerman. And then
who knows? It could be anyone.
It could be anybody. It could be Dan Gavitt, maybe going forward. So anyway, whatever. All these people sit in a room, and you become a college athletics commissioner. Because, why do you do it? I would like everybody to answer that. Could you fill out my survey, please? I will send you something in your inbox. Why did you want to be...
Tony Petitti does it to kill the thing within, like his mentor, Rob Mann.
Why did you want to be a college athletics commissioner? Is it because you like it? Or is it because you want to, for some reason, win this fake war that you're waging against your other conference foes? I cannot believe
it's a giant game of risk.
I cannot believe that there aren't people in this room shaking their heads, grabbing these people and being like the kid in Billy Madison, with Chris. Cherish it. Isn't that from that? I cannot believe these people aren't just pulling them to the sides. Do you understand what you're doing right now? Just think about it for 10 seconds. Think about it for 10 seconds. You're telling me that you don't have enough bids. You don't have enough access. Access, worse than bids. Access, meaning ability to make the tournament.
Yeah.
Right now, in a 68-team tournament, when the play-in games are still filled with high major teams in the first place, you don't have enough. And because you want one more or two more, you're going to upset the apple cart of something that everyone universally loves. And it's not even that we love, it's so disappointing and so disheartening that they have disrupted this thing that we love. But more than we love it, it makes sense. It makes sense to have a 64-team tournament. And we get the best results out of it every year. And it is a huge financial win for the NCAA, its TV partners and the units and all these different things. It's so universally viewed as this perfect, beautiful thing that we really figured out a long time ago and we shouldn't touch. And for some reason, access in a 64-team tournament. You could sell me access in a 4-team tournament of college football playoff teams. Oh, we don't have that. We don't have the access. We want more teams. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That actually makes sense. 68 teams. 68 teams.
Of which, what percentage come from like 3 conferences?
More than half.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. I think it's, what is it? 34 AQs.
Yeah. So I guess it'd be slightly less than half. It's at least over 40%.
Yeah.
So nearly half of your tournament is made up of 3 conferences in general.
Basically.
So, and then if you just do with the Big 4, you're over half, more or less. So, I mean, I don't understand why this has to happen. Again, the way it's being implemented does a disservice to better teams. So their season matters the same if they're effectively getting Arizona State in a 4-13 matchup as it does for Arizona State. I guess Arizona State had to win their way to being in that. But there's no real reward there. There's no, you're getting a caliber of team you would get on a Tuesday night in conference play, which anything can happen in those. But the reason that it doesn't matter as much on a singular Tuesday night is that in the Big Ten's place, you play 20 of those games.
And the worst part about this is always like you have the idiots like Seth Davis who will scream this from the top of the mountaintops, and it'll trigger me to no end. He'll come out here and say today or yesterday when this gets passed through and whenever it does in a couple weeks, and he'll be like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna love the NCAA tournament. Like you're still gonna watch the NCAA tournament. Like of course you're still gonna watch the NCAA tournament. It doesn't mean that I don't like being held hostage by you." Have you ever heard hostages voice their opinions that they don't like being hostages?
Well, I mean,
they don't like it. It's not fun for them.
Stockholm syndrome, but that's a different conversation.
I don't like being held hostage by these people. Of course, I'll find a way to watch it. Of course, I'm going to enjoy it while the games are happening. And I'll try not to think about the path that they took in order to get where they're at. But I will be thinking about it in the back of my head a little bit. And of course, I'm going to watch the stupid games just like I do every single year. And they're going to be fun to watch. That's not the point. I don't like being held hostage by you.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of being trapped inside of this basement by the Seth Davises of the world. Don't worry. You're going to like it.
The other problem with
what's next? What are they going to change next?
They're just going to keep going up in number.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with what happened with going from 2 to 4 to 12 is that once you got to 12 and it finally looks good, right? Like you have 2 years. It's felt like I think the college football playoff has worked in the way that it's supposed to. Yeah. All of that stuff. And then
some commissioner comes in and is like, actually, I want 16. Actually, I want 100.
No, I need them. Every team needs to be in. Yeah. And so then it's just, at one point, is it enough?
Also, it's such a fallacy, too, because if everybody makes it.
Right. What's the point of what we're doing?
And not only from a sports standpoint, but like I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. Like, okay, if I could somehow think about how they're thinking about this, right? It's a money thing / access thing. Okay. So what do I get for making a 76 team tournament compared to a 68 team tournament? Yes, you get to get into the field and the units or whatever you get to distribute those at a higher level and the conferences get richer. But first of all, how much? And then at what point does it dilute to the point that we're going to get to 86 and we're going to get to 110 teams or whatever it might be?
Because it's not going to stop at 76.
The value of the unit actually just goes down and down and down. Right. It's the same fallacy as far as teams joining conferences and stuff like that. Conference commissioners were able to figure that one out. They were like, oh, what do they bring to the table? If we're adding whatever West Coast team to our conference, what are they bringing to the table, and how much of our piece of the pie that we're currently distributing to our members, therefore their piece of the pie, is being diluted by the fact that we're bringing these teams in. And if we go any further, that has always been the central question after UCLA, USC joined the Big and Oregon and Washington joined the Big Ten, and then after Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. If we're adding teams, are we just adding for the sake of adding?
Yeah, I mean, at some point you do.
They figured that out. They actually said, yeah, you're right. We're not, we are just adding for the sake of adding. And in the NCAA tournament and in college football playoff expansion, they have not figured that out for some reason because they are just adding for the sake of adding. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And I hate it. And I hate these people. They suck.
How many years do you think they stay at 76
like
before they
4.
expand? Yeah, I don't even think 4 probably even feels a little high. Like they get 2 years into it. And it's like, actually, we need more teams.
Yep.
And at some point you get to where it's like, well, why do I even have to pay attention to these first 7 days of the NCAA tournament? The good teams won't play until the second week because we've got to get through all these other teams, which you already sort of have in what's called a conference tournament week. It's way more fun of a setting because it's split up throughout and different teams get to play. But no, I almost wonder if you get rid of conference tournaments at this point. So they can start the NCAA tournament earlier when they have their 96-team tournament.
So stupid. I mean, sure. Just blow the whole thing up at this point.
Well,
we had a great
we're
thing.
Trending towards.
We had a great thing. We ruined it. I feel like Mike Trout. We had a great thing. And because of you. And what does he say? Because of you and your pride, you know, because of you and your pride.
What a great actor,
Walter. That's what I feel like right now. Mike always saw the big picture. Now, he was a bad guy for the most part, but he saw the big picture.
He was a bad guy doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's all I really want. These are bad people doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
these are horrible people. KD writes in on Twitter, on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. It's just another example of men of a certain age, 55 to 75, ruining something in the name of money. Everything good we have lost in college sports is directly the result of nearly geriatric dudes who don't care about sports at all. It seems so oversimplistic to say that, but it's accurate. I mean,
some parts of it, yeah. I mean, I don't know that all of it.
Not all 55 to 75 year olds
everything
are
that
bad.
has happened has been bad. Like there's also this element of it too, but this is not something I support in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'm someone who I like the Tuesday, Wednesday of the NCAA tournament certainly more than you do. But I don't need more teams playing in it, and I certainly don't need more teams rewarded for having average seasons that then get propped up because we need to put more high major teams in. So 17 and 16 Auburn can play in the NCAA tournament instead of winning the NIT, which exists exactly for 17 and 16 Auburn to go play in. Mm-hmm. If you want to go continue your season, there's a format for that. If you want to go win something and you didn't make the NCAA tournament, there's multiple tournaments of which you can go do that in. That already exists for you. Yeah. What you shouldn't get is a ticket into the tournament because you played in a conference that has other good teams that have propped up your metric numbers, and you only did accomplish 17 wins or whatever it is. You accomplished barely half of better than losing these games. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't make you a tournament team. Being surrounded by other good teams doesn't mean you are deserving of anything.
That's right.
That's what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, the Big Ten can get 12 teams in the NCAA tournament now.
And for some reason, these
why do we want that?
These conferences, and I don't even know, like, maybe Auburn's a bad example because they're delusional people. But like, even like if I'm sitting here, I'm a Creighton fan. Like, I completely understood that Creighton was not NCAA tournament worthy this year, but could you have made an argument for a team of the stature of Creighton, like with their wins and losses this year and their record and stuff like that? If you really, really wanted to, could you have got up on the table and started yelling that Creighton should have been in the NCAA tournament?
You expand to 96, certainly.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You go deep enough, absolutely. It's like last year.
But it's like
Nebraska was the caliber of a tournament team. They didn't win enough games to deserve to go to the tournament. That's why they went to the Crown.
They're so about them, like, so the SEC is so about itself, and the teams are so about themselves, and everybody's looking out for themselves. And they're so blind to the fact that they're just simply not good enough to make the NCAA tournament, and they'll never admit it.
They don't care.
They'll never admit it. They don't care, and they'll never admit it.
I think the biggest fallacy to me is that these people care anything about the institutions of which they're involved with.
No.
They don't.
They most certainly do.
There is absolutely no interest in the part of Greg Sankey about the greater good of college athletics. It's legitimately, how can the SEC have more? How can I have more? How can we have more? Everything is about us. And the same for Tony, and I use Greg Sankey a lot. It's the same for Tony Petitti.
Yeah.
It's the same for
he's
Jim
joined
Phillips.
this train.
It's the same for Brent Yormark. Nobody's over here like, hey, what's good for the collective? It's what can we do to enhance us so our rev share goes up slightly so then we can continue to pay out more.
I want to say that there will be a point in the future where society looks back at what we're doing right now and says, I can't believe it. I can't believe these idiots did this. But I don't know. It'll probably just be
They'll probably
worse.
look back with yearning
because
they're like, oh man, what a quaint idea having 68 teams in a tournament. Now we have 136.
But look at what we've done. Why did we make playoffs in the first place? Because we wanted to find out the winner. We wanted to find out the winner.
That used to be the idea.
That is not why we expand playoffs anymore. Why do we have larger playoffs in the MLB, NFL, college football, college basketball, and every sport in between?
So we can reward people for not winning their divisions or conferences.
Wrong, Schaefer. It's about money, and it's about wanting more. It's about getting more teams in the playoffs, it's about having more TV revenue and stuff like that. It is not at all about the competitive balance of the sport. Not in the slightest. If it was, there would be half as many baseball teams in the playoff. There would be half as many teams in the tournament as there is right now. There would be a quarter as many NCAA football, college football teams that have a chance to win a national championship. There'd be a quarter as many basketball teams as there is right now to be able to win NBA titles. And it has created so many fundamental issues at the core of these sports. And we can't look around and we can't see that it's basically, it's ruined the NBA. That's for sure.
They've always been in a weird spot where they've had more playoff teams than half of their league.
It's ruined. It's ruined Major League Baseball. We're about to have a baseball topic a little bit later on, and the saving grace in all of these crap teams is that they all have a chance to make the playoffs still.
Some of them have a chance to make the World Series, as you'll see in this conversation that we'll have.
So I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620. Sorry, there was probably enough for about 6 rant gongs in there, but we had to let it all out. We'll take a break. Tweeted us at Happen Schaefer. If you have any thoughts on that, we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. I saw yesterday that there's going to be a second Trader Joe's in Omaha. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Yes, I did.
Are you excited about it, Joey? You sound excited.
I don't shop there. I just know there's one. I think it'll be good.
Oh, it's gonna. I mean, like
there won't be one central location to go to. There will be multiple.
Exactly. Maybe it'll have the same effect that that Costco when we got the second the third Costco, I guess, the second city of Omaha Costco out at 100.
You don't really want to count that Papillion one much.
But where did it go? 192nd and Dodge is the new home of the new Trader Joe's, apparently. And the 180th and Maple Costco. There's going to be a Baker's at 180th and Maple as well. I don't know. I just, on behalf of residents of the nearabouts of 180th and Maple, I'd like to say you're welcome, rest of Omaha, for taking so much pressure off of your overrun places. And please come on out. The water is warm in far west Omaha. I think 180th and Maple might be the new 144th and Maple.
I don't really know what that means, as I just started.
Oh, you know what it means.
And have,
go to 144th and Maple and tell me what you see today.
Red Robin.
Yes.
There you go.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to just start naming things
that
are at 144th.
Home Depot, Carrabba's,
Yep.
Taco Bell,
Yep.
Lowe's.
Sonic, Lowe's.
There's a movie theater.
It
used to be called 20 Grand.
Scooters, TCBY, I think still.
There's like a handful of sports bars.
Jimmy John's, a handful of sports bars.
A Moki Nut.
Right. So
First Watch.
That's all of that was like the central kind of like, oh, everything's kind of drifting this way.
I spend a lot less time at 144th than I do 156. I think that's more the
you're more of a 156 guy.
Yeah.
156.
You got Union there, you got Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
Square Donut.
Yeah, there's a couple things in there.
I think it's probably just mostly I went to Square Donut.
There's a car wash.
There's a Hy-Vee.
There's Williamsburg Pizza.
Yeah.
Which is terrific. Fantastic. But it's all going. I mean, there's a lot of wide open spaces at 180th and Maple.
They won't be wide open for long.
It seems like the new central hub of Omaha.
I ran into a Trader Joe's employee on Sunday.
I think I know that guy.
I know.
And I was like, hey, is there only one Trader Joe's in town? He's like, there's only one. And now there's going to be two.
He would probably tell you a second Trader Joe's has hit the Omaha. That's what he would.
He didn't know at the time.
That's probably what he would say if he was armed with that information.
You should go back and whisper that in his ear.
I did not recognize him at first because he had way more hair than the last time I saw him.
So my question for like urban developers and like, people who know stuff about this stuff, how far we're running out of room on West, like how far past 204th do we go before we have to start back over and go back like
pretty much until you hit the Platte River?
How far west is Omaha capable of going? We are talking about real, true, very like civilized society.
Well,
now.
Eventually it'll annex Bennington, and then it can just keep working its way further north.
You think so?
I think that's one route.
And they need to start paving some roads out there.
They are way behind on the roads.
Yeah,
even when they spend time on the roads, like 168th, they don't think to themselves, we should widen this now because people might be driving at the peak times and then be stuck on this one lane.
I'm a little concerned about the northern expansion. The western expansion doesn't ever seem to have any problems. The roads get paved in no time.
Well, it's going to be busy out there. State Street's about to get really busy with all of their strip malls that are going in and all the various.
They're putting strip malls out there.
Just wait.
I mean, 156 in state has like a whole strip mall complex.
Oh my god!
Just wait until they do the road construction, adding the lanes from 2 to 4. They did that with 144th and 156 a long time ago.
Yeah, it's coming.
No, it needs to 168. They shut down from before I arrived in Omaha to months into me being there, and they didn't expand it from 2 to 4 in a large section of it, and it's problematic because you have thousands of people trying to go north on a one lane, and it's just you can get to Fort and then you stop for a long time. and then you can get to Ida and you stop for a long time.
Just wait until they have to figure out what to do with the 192nd once that gets busy, especially north of Dodge when you hit the train tracks near Belando. It's 2 lanes both ways. It's really bad.
See, Joey knows about West.
Joey knows the whole
whole
landscape.
Far west.
Which is wild
Omaha.
because it's much further west than Joey actually is. Most
yeah,
of the time.
you don't have to go out there, Joey.
I don't have to go out there, but I've been out there a long time ago.
Do you just drive out there and mentally photograph everything and then bring it back into your brain?
I'm imagining Joey just
I don't really do that.
Car.
Joey needs to be the surveyor.
I'm usually on Google Maps just seeing what's been happening in the metro.
Oh, so you don't actually go out there? You just take the.
I mean, that's what I've been doing lately. But I've been out there once in a blue moon.
I think that you could drive the Google car. I think that
I'm starting to think that Joey needs more of an involvement in city planning, road planning.
You have a little
survey area.
You have a little bit of road rage, which
yes, I do.
Is challenging. I don't know that Google.
I get that from my mom.
I don't know that Google would like that very much, but
no, I don't think they would.
I think that you would be a great candidate outside of your road rage to drive the Google car and basically just survey the land.
That's a good graphic.
Joey wants to drive around driving the Google car. I think this is a great job for him. Except for the road rage,
that's for sure.
Because you don't want the Google car running into you.
No, you've not heard.
You want the Google car to maintain consistency.
You've not heard my road rage, and I don't think Google wants to know it.
I've heard it on a couple videos during snow time.
No, Celtics rage, and I assume the road rage.
It's a lot worse. I know. I'm filming myself, and I know to behave.
Yeah.
As best as I can.
There's some stuff in there. I mean,
do you think your Celtics rage or your road rage at its apex is worse?
I would say the road rage is worse.
But what if the Celtics rage combines the calls from officials you don't like?
Let's factor in the Packers into the equation.
I don't ever factor the Packers.
Richard Bisaccia, Brandon
what if
McManus.
you were driving down like 120th and Maple, and people for some reason were going 32 miles an hour on a 45-mile-per-hour road, and it turned out the person leading the pack with no one in front of him was Richard Bisaccia driving. A Fiat or something like that. What would happen?
Yeah, driving a California pizza kitchen delivery car?
No, I'll just pass them up and
it's Richard Bisaccia in the left lane, and it's like
Richard Bisaccia driving the California pizza kitchen.
It's that tiny ref that you hate in the other lane,
tiny baby Tyler
and they're
Ford.
working together to block.
Wow.
Anyone from going past
restricting the flow of traffic
on Maple Street.
I might be arrested.
I think you would. That's pretty safe to say.
You cannot imagine
for disturbing the peace.
Katie says they have to stay within Douglas County, so that's the limit. Douglas County is almost full. We have no more room.
They got a little room just closing, but they're closing in on the Platte River because it goes west and it goes north towards Fremont, so they still got that little room. And then
Are you a Trader Joe's guy? Do you like?
I am. I do like Trader Joe's, but I haven't lived near one since I lived in. Well, I haven't really lived near one ever.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lived. This is the closest I will ever have lived near a Trader
Joe's. I used
to
take special trips to South Lincoln, which I hated to go to Trader Joe's when I lived there.
Yeah, and then when I lived in South Lincoln and was closer to it, I never went. But when I was further away from it, I went all the time.
Okay.
But now I'll be even closer to a Trader Joe's. I think Trader Joe's is great. I don't know that I will disrupt my current grocery routine to go to Trader Joe's.
Were you shopping at?
I normally it's like a Walmart and Sam's Club and that kind of thing. So
nice.
It's just a very simple, especially because it's right there.
There's a lot of options.
Yeah.
You're about to have Baker's as an option.
Yeah, I've never
that too.
Baker's is very much an Omaha thing.
It's
like I think I've been in a Baker's once, maybe.
Check it out. You might like what you see.
It's a nice store.
They have good varietals of chips.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is where your chips come from?
My dad will always come back from Baker's with a new bag of chips.
I came back to the studio with a new bag of a snack and decided very quickly not for me.
Yeah, you did not like those protein pretzels. Those seem bad.
Very bad.
They're terrible. Yeah, you even asked her, like, do you want to try? I'm like, no, I don't think I do.
Well, I asked if you wanted to try one, then told you not to do it.
Yeah.
Which makes almost
I don't think I was going to anyway. Let's take a break. We have the headlines featuring animals on this Wednesday after this on 1620 The Zone. Theo on YouTube says headlines is the edgiest bit on this station. Theo is always here for the edgy bits.
Sweet.
I don't know that this is very edgy, but
Yeah.
it is a bit.
I don't know that we have an edgy bit, but I don't know that it would be this.
I don't think so.
Though I also don't know what it would be. So then,
I guess that the edginess is in the eye of the beholder. It really is.
it has to be.
If you think something is edgy and we think it's not very edgy,
who
then
are we to argue with Theo? He listens to everything.
he does. He listens
does.
to every single thing.
appreciate
So
that.
we trust him on that one. All right, Joey, what do we got?
Okay. It's been a long time for me to find something, but here we are. Massachusetts woman sets swarms of insects on sheriff's deputies attempting to evict elderly man with cancer.
Dear God, there's a lot of words in there. A lot of twists and turns, even in the headline, which is sort of fascinating.
It's gonna be really hard for story 2 to beat this out.
Okay.
Florida possums with GPS collars used to track pythons in Everglades.
Okay. Got a
well,
chance.
Yeah, I mean, things I didn't expect.
Yeah, I'm going to go with number 2. Florida possums with GPS collars used to track pythons in the Everglades. Burmese pythons are top predators in the Florida Everglades. Wildlife researchers have found a way to help control the invasive species by using possums. Researchers have fitted possums and raccoons in southern Florida with GPS collars, which could also track pythons after they swallow animals whole. Wow. They hope to have at least 40 collared possums in their program by later this summer. The possums are basically like they're narcs. Are you a narc?
I mean,
They're wearing a wire.
they certainly are not going to be able to look at themselves in the mirror and answer truthfully
No.
that they are turning in their fellow animals.
Scientists insist that the animals will not be limited or put at risks by the GPS collars. The collars will be used to research natural behavior. I don't know. If I'm a python and I see a possum with a collar on, I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Nobody has a possum as a pet.
Where did you
No
get
one
that
does.
fancy accessory?
Exactly. Quote, we're not putting these animals out there and in harm's way. Crocodile Lake National Wildlife Refuge manager Jeremy Dixon told South Florida Sun Sentinel, harm's way is there. We're just documenting what's happening. Oh, so they're using the already pre-existing condition of a harm's way to, sort of mask the fact that, oh, if they get hurt, it's not our fault.
Yeah, it's for science.
It's
and
for science.
research. We aren't doing anything the ecosystem wouldn't already do.
They were
itself.
already going to get hurt
Now
anyway.
we're just learning about
It
it.
has nothing to do with the collars. All right, here's how it works. The collar records the animal's location and movement. If the possum is still for more than 4 hours, the collars notify researchers that it is probably dead. All right. Burmese pythons digest slowly, so the collar will continue to transmit and researchers will be able to locate the snake. Once the snake is found, it is euthanized and the collar will be cleaned and used again. Oh, dear.
Wow.
Wait, can
Possums
possums
don't even get their own special collar.
can possums play dead for 4 hours?
No, they're actually dead.
They're being eaten.
Well, yeah, I know that, but how long can they play dead? Because
I think it's for a lot shorter amount of time.
Okay.
Several minutes, maybe.
My guess was like 20 minutes was the max, but I don't know. We'll look it up.
So they're putting these possums out there as bait for the Burmese pythons to eat. Then they do eat them. Then they kill the pythons and take the collars out of the pythons and recycle the collar to put it on another possum as bait and kill more snakes. This is horrific.
So possums can actually play dead for over 4 hours.
Whoa. All right.
So now,
Well, upon finding the collar,
Yeah,
then
then you
they'd
just
find
leave it
that,
alone,
yeah,
yeah.
they'd find that the possum hadn't been eaten by a snake.
I hadn't-
Disappointing.
I guess I didn't realize their playing dead is an involuntary thing. It's not something they choose to do. Their body just
Oh, I thought it was a defense mechanism.
no, it's their fight or flight, but they don't actually get to pick. They never fight.
It's just
And they never
decided for
fight.
them.
they just
They
lay.
Way. It's a comatose state. They have no choice over. Like I had no idea about this.
The invasive species of Burmese pythons reduced the population of raccoons by 99%,
Whoa.
possums by 98%, and bobcats by 88%. Well, then why do we want to kill the Burmese pythons if they're killing all of our possums and bobcats?
I think they want to keep some possums and bobcats for the ecosystem.
The first recorded Burmese python sighting in the wild in Florida was in 1979 in the Everglades National Park. The heaviest python ever caught in Florida was 18 feet,
Oh, boy.
215 pounds. 25 documented sightings of Burmese pythons across Treasure Coast since 2004. And they are putting the possums out there as bait to track the Burmese pythons.
Whoa.
That's quite the scheme there by
Yes.
the folks down there in Florida. But I don't know. Can't help but think whenever we go to Florida, I can't help but think that drugs were involved in some way. So maybe they're like,
for
what
everything.
if we collared the possums and the pythons still ate the possums, and then we went and killed the snake, and then we got the collar back out. We put it on more possums.
This is brought to you by the never-ending drug war.
Basically, yeah. All right, let's take a break. Those are the headlines, folks. 8:00 hour coming up. We're busy for the rest of the show. Sam Mchuan at the bottom of the hour. Creighton baseball coach Mark Kingston at 9, and Lauren Michaelelsson at 9:15. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Wednesday on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you on this chillier Wednesday. They're very chilly, just in recent memory. I guess I've done like four kids days now, 5 kids day, whatever it is at Creighton baseball. And that was definitely the chilliest yesterday. It was also very stinky as far as the baseball is concerned. Stinky.
Not outwardly stinky, just like the quality of play was stinky.
Yeah, it didn't physically smell. Although if it would have gone on another couple innings, I would have been concerned that it would have grown a stench to it. I would have been concerned about that.
It was cold yesterday. I think
chilly.
because my body had like kind of gotten used to it being mostly warm, and then it was windy. It was cold. It felt dreary. Today looks a lot nicer. It's gonna be sunny. It only gets into the 60s, but sun all day. That's good.
I went to go take a little walk last night, and I regretted not wearing pants. I didn't like it. Once we hit May, I mean, this has got to be over.
There'll be a few days in the 70s, but it's going to get back to like the 60s,
end
50s.
When we get to May. This must end.
Joey, I thought that we had a run of days in the 70s starting once the weekend hits here.
Yeah. Sunday to Tuesday will be in the 70s, but then Wednesday and Thursday of next week, as of right now, it's like 60 and 57. I'm looking through the weather app at the moment.
I guess as long as it stays above like 45 and below 100, I'm okay.
As long as it doesn't snow.
I really don't ask for much.
I'm curious when the last time it did snow in May in Omaha.
I remember.
We need to learn this information.
There was maybe one within the last 5 or 6 years, but there was definitely one while I was in college.
There was one in 2013.
2013, that would have been
May 1st and 2nd.
Yep, I remember that.
3 inches of snow.
I was not happy about that.
I don't remember this at all.
I was very unhappy about that in 2013.
Hopefully I was out of the state at that time.
Yeah, you were probably talking about trains or something.
No, that was 2 years post trains. I was probably somewhere for recruiting, would be my guess.
Wow.
I used to like go on the road and go to high schools and talk to the recruits that Nebraska was after. That was like a thing for a few years.
Go on the road and talk to the recruits that Nebraska was after?
Yeah, I would. So
like on behalf of Nebraska?
No, not on behalf of Nebraska, but like covering it.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah.
And so I would, you go.
Oh, they used to actually like send you to go
sent
places.
Somewhere,
I understand
what it was.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
Nope. Well, it doesn't happen for several reasons, but it stopped happening like the mid 2015, 16 around there.
Dang.
Then it was like, you can just use your phone.
And now look at us. The NCAA tournament is 150 teams. Nobody travels anywhere for anything anymore.
Recruiting isn't as big of a deal because the portal exists.
Recruiting is fake, basically. I mean, it's unbelievable. Speaking of all the changes, Ross Dellinger said yesterday, there was a decision expected yesterday in the Nebraska versus CSC arbitration case. And that did not happen yesterday. I love how we have become experts in the courts and things in arbitration cases and things of that nature. According to the settlement terms, the arbitrator has 5 days to rule, though that timeline can be extended with a post-hearing briefing. So stay tuned on Nebraska versus CSC, which a lot of people are, for the record.
It's hugely important.
Yeah. A lot of people are watching this because if the court decides to rule in the favor of the arbitrator, decides to rule in the favor of Nebraska, it effectively opens the floodgates on the money laundering straight through the multimedia rights holders, which is gigantic.
And for most people, you don't have to care about the mechanics of how the teams can physically get the NIL to the players, because you really don't need to care about these things. But it does matter in the sense that, like, this is the avenue that Nebraska wants to use. If they are denied, they're going to have to figure out how they're going to get millions of dollars in NIL money through other avenues. And they aren't necessarily set up to do that at the moment.
Yeah.
So there are ramifications at this,
Ramifications.
Wow. Repercussions, ramifications made into
I was
one
like,
word.
whoa, that sounds intense.
That's a new one.
I said it, I was like, you just combined 2 words and then you called it out. So
I think it's
I had
important.
to
It was
explain it.
important.
well,
For
I don't know if
clarity.
it's that important.
No, I agree, Schaefer. I mean, I don't like this one. In the case of the Nebraska players, it's less about the actual people who are involved in it.
Yeah.
And it's more about the precedent that it
More about
sets.
Nebraska and how they're choosing to try to move their NIL money.
Yeah.
Because again, if it doesn't work,
but if it does work, I mean, it's about
well, then it opens everything.
Exactly.
Well, and then if it does work, the clearinghouse is just
Totally dead.
there's a word I was going to use that Joey was going to need the dump button for, but I stopped myself.
Oh,
Good
well,
job,
proud.
Schaefer.
what
I'm
was
proud.
They're terrible.
Yes, there was that.
You're an idiot.
okay?
No, I'm not.
They're terrible.
right.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I don't ever seek out the court information. The court information just finds me, which is,
Much to the chagrin of everybody involved.
yeah, which is nice. All right, I have a baseball question for you. So I was listening to Mike Farron talk yesterday on Sportsfly Conduct on with John and Josh. You could hear that show from 2 to 6. It's a good show, and they were talking about something that sort of piqued my interest, and I wondered if I could ask you this, basically a similar question. And we were talking about playoff expansion earlier, so I think it makes a lot of sense here. If your team sucks in April, which a lot of teams do, I don't know if you guys have noticed, the entire American League sucks right now, with the exception of Tampa and the Yankees.
And Tampa is on a 5-game winning streak that pushed it up from
Right.
suck it to.
Right. So
they might be in a false sense of unsuck.
everybody's in the suck zone at the moment. And if your team sucks in April, is it really worth panicking anymore? Considering that basically everybody makes the playoffs. Look around at the standings, and everyone besides the Yankees and the Rays are pretty much scuffling right now, certainly in the American League. And this is kind of I think to your point, Schaefer, like this is kind of how it looks, sort of middling right at the beginning of the year, every year. But I say that because we have seen now multiple major league managers fired in the first month of the season because those two teams have come in underneath their expectations of I'm sure there's a variety of reasons that Alex Cora is no longer the manager of the Red Sox, but the primary one, and the one that spurs it on, is that they have stunk in the first 4 weeks of the season now. Same thing with the Phillies. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff at work there, but the primary reason and what brings all this on is that the Phillies stink right now. And I was surprised by both of those moves, considering what I just said. I mean, I know Farron, there's a bit about this on their show. It really is too early to tell with some of these teams.
Right.
And what do you gain by firing your manager and then not bringing in a complete wholesale change? Basically, you're just elevating somebody else who was on the staff or somebody from lower on the minor league totem pole to, basically act as an interim or an acting manager for however long it takes. What do you gain off of this? I don't know. So I can't figure out why the internal pressure to do that in those specific cases was so strong. And I can't figure out why the urgency was that high in the month of April, specifically with those two teams, considering that everybody makes the playoffs in baseball now. It's very odd to me.
Yeah, so the thing about it, I think with the Red Sox is probably different than with the Phillies. I think with the Red Sox, it was probably more Cora related just in general. Like they kind of reached the end of that. With the Phillies, I think Thompson was the manager that took over the year they went to the World Series when they fired a coach in April or May.
I think it's right.
And so he sort of then assumed that role. Maybe you're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle again that way. A baseball manager is a fascinating thing because I think they have a lot less to do than the other head coaches in professional sports in terms of the daily outcome. A lot of it is their ability to keep the momentum or the morale high in a locker room, keep people grounded,
and you don't
manage
see
personalities.
Yeah, right. You don't see a manager's real impact until you have a gigantic sample size.
Right.
Like, you need a year.
Look,
to figure
I
it out.
think you can see a manager's real impact over the course of time, and that's why when Terry Francona was hired by the Reds, it was obvious to me, if you play fantasy baseball, if you gamble, the Reds are a massive stock up. All they're going to do is win because he is tremendous at managing a locker room for a series of time. Eventually it runs out. Like we saw what happened at the end with the Red Sox. I think Cleveland was a little worried about that at the end with their run too, that, someone's voice has to eventually change. It can't stay forever. But a guy like that is always successful because he's able to find ways to encourage and make other people successful. Like there's something to a Dusty Baker or a Terry Francona or guys like that wherever they go, they win. They have different methodologies, but so much of it isn't the analytics. It's not your scouting departments. It's their ability to get guys in the locker room comfortable with who they are, how they play, and believe that every day out, they have an opportunity to win a baseball. And that's why those guys were really successful at what they do.
Yeah.
And it's also like you see a lot of churn where you're searching for someone who can fall in that role. And, Francona was the manager of the Phillies at one point in time early in his career, and they were terrible. It took him a while to get there, too.
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Exactly.
They were terrible.
Like St. John's in January.
Like St. John's in January.
You're an idiot.
Okay.
Stop saying that. John Fanta gets really angry when you say that St. John's was terrible. But yeah, it struck me as sort of odd. And when you look around and you see that everybody makes the playoffs. Now another thing came in on YouTube from D'Lo says, or does it matter at all when everyone already knows who is winning the World Series? Well, wouldn't that even make it less inviting to fire your managers in April?
A lot of it just feels like an emotional response to being upset that you started off slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it looks like. So I put up the April standings at the end of April 30th. So we're 2 days away from that. And last year,
yeah.
You have several teams that jump out like right away where, the Mets are basically in the exact reverse spot of where they were a year ago. The Dodgers are almost the exact same as what they were a year ago. But if you look over in the Eastern Division of the American League at 14 and 16 are your Toronto Blue Jays, who were basically several defensive plays away from being the World Series champions a year ago. So yes, April has a lot of value, but a season in baseball is so long that there's not that much of a reason to get so bad out of shape at that point in time. They were fourth in their division.
And by the
Tied
way,
for third, I guess.
that's here. Let me go to like that persisted throughout a lot of the remainder of the season. Like Toronto was coming from behind for a while.
And then they won the division.
And then they ended up winning the division.
Yeah.
And remember, 2 years ago,
they got hot, but
it was 2 years ago, right? When Detroit was really pretty average for the entire season.
And then they got hot
and then
in
got
July.
really, really, really hot and ended up winning almost 90 games or something like that.
Yep. And then Lane Thomas hit the home run to send him home.
That's right.
That's what Lane Thomas does.
The one time I appreciated Lane Thomas until a couple nights ago. Which was nice. So I don't really get I don't really understand. First of all, why you would make those moves. And then to bring this back to like the Royals, like I hear people talk about firing the coaching staff and stuff like that. People had texted me. It's like, hey, they have to do something, right? I'm like, am I taking crazy pills for not thinking that they have to take action on April 25th?
I think it's hard.
So this is the broader topic. The general tenor of everywhere in society moves so fast now on coaching staffs, administrations, front offices, things like that. They're so quick to turn. And oftentimes I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. Am I an insane person for not wanting these people? Because all around me, all I hear is everyone saying that they need to remove these people from their offices and they need to fire this person and get this person out of the line, like whatever it might be. And I'm talking about all across sports, all across athletics. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, I don't know what that does. And I don't know if it's a good idea, obviously dependent on the situation completely. But oftentimes I'm just like, yeah, let's let it play out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I feel crazy because I never hear that from anyone else. All I hear as a sports talk radio host is people yelling at me to fire the people that are in charge of these various things that we talk about on a daily basis. And I'm like, guys, I don't know what to tell you. That's, first of all, it's not going to happen. And I don't think they should do that. It wouldn't behoove them to do that.
It's also 1/5 of your entire season.
Right.
You played 30 in the case of
if we're talking specifically about baseball.
30 games, 29 games. There's just, you haven't played enough games to really know what you are at this point in time. And that works for everybody. I mean, there's teams that were winning divisions that didn't win a division, in April of last year at this time. The other big thing, and part of what gets to what you're talking about with the American League, especially, if you look at last year's standings and this year's standings, what jumps out immediately, everybody already has 10 wins at this point in time.
There's no bad.
Last year, the Rockies had 5 wins out of 30 games, which is what I kind of thought the Twins were going to be this year.
Yeah.
And it did not happen that way. The White Sox were 7-23. You don't have anything like that this year. So you have a much more muddled, and yet you still have the Dodgers off to the races, and the Yankees are exactly where they were a year ago. And the teams that you sort of expect are doing what they're doing, except for the Philadelphia Phillies, the Red Sox, and the Mets. And 2 of those 3 have already made managerial changes.
Yeah.
I don't know that the Mets will. I think they're more in the camp of where you're at, where we haven't been healthy. They've had like 5 games all year where Soto and Lindor have hit back-to-back because of injury.
Mm-hmm.
And so there just hasn't been like the lineup that you put together. You're kind of just waiting and hoping that you don't get so far buried that you can't come back from it.
I think Houston was the other one who's been, shaky this year, but they've been beat up as far as their
I don't think they're very
situation
good
as well. No, I haven't thought so. For
doesn't mean they can't make the playoffs, because there's nothing that precludes you from making the playoffs as a bad baseball team. Cleveland does it almost every year,
right?
And so it wouldn't surprise me if the Astros do. But that Western Division feels like it's very much Seattle and 4 mediocre.
But pulling outside of baseball a little bit, I'm speaking in generality, Schaefer. Like, do you when people come up to you all the time, or they reach out to the show and they talk about people getting fired or wanting people fired or changing whatever here and there, it doesn't, I'm speaking once again in generalities. Like, what do you say to that, and how do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think as it relates with Nebraska stuff, I tend to be a lot more patient than most people are with it. Even coaches that have been let go, because I've been, on the other side of like, I'd rather have seen what
exactly.
This looks like for another year.
And then there will be people who are like, well, you just have to say that because because you want to keep your, like, no, like, I actually believe that.
I think when a coach is time, like, you knew it was time to move on from Scott Frost.
Absolutely.
I didn't think that I had the same feeling with other coaches that have been let go by Nebraska. I thought it was time to move on from Tim Miles. Like, I didn't have an issue with that one. He had a long stretch of time. I felt like you sort of saw what they were going to be at their apex, which is a 1-year wonder. And then they would go back into what they were. And we saw that a couple different times.
There's only been a couple.
But I didn't want to move on from Fred Hoiberg last year when they had all those losses.
If we're doing Nebraska,
I was the guy that was like, hey, this looks better. It looks better. Believe in what your eyes are telling you.
If we're doing Nebraska football and men's basketball, there's really only been Riley, end of Riley, end of Frost.
The thing with Riley
is who
I wanted to move on from the whole operation. It wasn't Mike Riley so much.
Sure.
It was everything with Eichhorst and the way that things were being done and the meddlesome nature of it.
Time.
Yeah, I wanted all of that done.
Okay.
I didn't want to move on from Bill Callahan. I was probably in the minority there.
Yeah, I don't know that I had a fully developed opinion on.
But I was ready to go with Frost and with Bo Pelini. I was done at the end of that one.
When Bo got fired, I mean, just like everybody else, it was pretty 50-50 on whether he was going to come back or not. And so I was mildly surprised that morning. And it's not like I would have, it's not like I stood out there and said, no, they needed to bring Bo back. because that's what happened.
Mhm.
Everybody was either like, oh, they needed to bring Bo back, or I'm so happy that we're out from underneath the torture of the Bo Pelini tenure.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I just sit here and be like, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with this. Obviously, they didn't go about that process the right way or did do the right thing after that. So that makes the decision a little bit more clouded, I think. But there's only been 2 times, I think, where I've been like, yep, we got to go. We got to move on.
I think I've had more than 2, but for the most part, I want to see it for a long time. And then it's like, I think you know it when you know it.
Yeah.
It's not like an emotional, like, oh, they haven't done immediately what I've expected. That's why when I get asked if I think not a great sign, if Matt Rule is going to be
HCMR,
it's going to be moved on from, my response is no. Like he's elevated their floor. It hasn't looked great, but I think that they're still.
I don't want that. Like I should be able to say, I don't think he's the guy to get Nebraska to where they really want to. Like, I don't think he's the guy to get Nebraska to the playoff. I don't think he's going to make the playoff with Nebraska. I also don't think he should be fired.
Yeah. Well,
I don't.
I think he can make a 24-team playoff or whatever they're going to be.
It's not like a zero. It's not like a black and white thing,
right?
For me, it just never has been. And like you said, Schaefer, it would have to go so bad in order for me to get to the point.
I want 2 more years of just watching whatever and seeing how this plays out
see
before I'm ready to, say one thing or another.
Yeah.
And people hate that when I say it.
I
know they hate that. But that's more of how I am.
The decision-making processes and all these things have really, I mean, the landscape of sports have just really changed. I mean, there's a lot of noise from the fan base, from social media, and I think that has an effect on things, and it can increase internal pressures.
Well, I mean, you have
things like that, and then you watch how quickly things change at the collegiate level in both football and basketball, with these teams winning out of nowhere and one guy seemingly changing the program and all these different things, and then people start dreaming. And I still really do believe in the long-term, developmental sort of outlook. And I do think a lot of the teams around here need to take that track in order to be what they want to be, be successful.
I mean, and the people that absolutely love Fred Hoiberg now, there was an element of that fan base that was ready to move on after 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, and this is what I get in response to what I just said all the time from D'Lo, who says, so we are good to settle. If you don't think he can get to the playoff and still want him here, hard to reconcile as a fan. Yeah, I'm sorry, but
I think that he can get to the playoff. That's where we disagree.
Well, I mean, let's just say the playoff is still 12.
Yeah.
Do you think he can get to the playoff?
I think at some point, yes.
I should say I think he can get Nebraska to the playoff. I don't think he will.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better phrased way.
Yeah.
I don't know that he will either. You'd have to give me a time period on it.
3 years.
I would have to see at some point in the next 2 years, I need to see some more upward mobility to believe that he can get him to a 12.
I mean, even if you extend it out to 5 years, I don't think he's the guy to take Nebraska to the next.
I think, okay,
level.
If you did this in the next 5 years, will Nebraska be in position to be a top 15 team to potentially have one playoff year in the next 5? I would say yes.
What is it? Whoa, what is that?
Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you're like a top 15 team, you're in position to kind of be a playoff team, right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I'm saying.
But when?
In the next 5 years.
When are you a top 15 team? Like during this, like at any point during the season, or
well, yeah, it would have to be during the season to be in that conversation.
But what if it's like 6-0 and they're a top 15 team? Like, I think they could be 6-0.
Top 15 team in the beginning of November. Is that fair?
Yeah.
November being such a scar heavy month for this program at the moment probably isn't fair.
They could be. Unlikely.
I think they're trending towards being a top 25 team, but I think it's towards the back of the top 25.
I don't think Matt Rule will win more than 9 games here.
Okay. I think that he can. I don't know if he
will.
I
think he can, but I don't think he will.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'll put it this way.
And with this, at the same time, I don't want him fired right now. Like I think those are both completely normal things to say at the same time. And I understand that's difficult for people because they're like, hey, well, if we're not trying to be the best, then what the hell are we doing here? It's like, that's not all, there's other things that you could accomplish in the meantime. And while I don't think that that's going to happen, I'd like to see him try, like, I don't know. I just don't feel like that's that crazy to say.
I'm just not ready to end it. I am not at the point where I think he can win 10 games at some point in the next 4 or 5 seasons.
Yep.
I really do. I think they have enough upward track, but they do have to eventually show that they can punch through. And that's where the next season or two comes in.
We can bounce this off Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. He'll join us on the other side on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer on a Wednesday, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm good. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. We just finished up this conversation, and we'd like to pose the question that we ended up on to you. Do you think that Matt Rule will ever win 10 games at Nebraska?
Well, I don't know. I hate to tell you.
No, it's a big one right off the bat, admittedly. Yeah.
Kind of also
Yeah.
impossible to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you whether what I think is the most likely path to doing it. I don't know that I would say it's this year, but I think if it's to be done, it's to be done in 27. So I think they have an opportunity this season to take a step and win some tough games and post a record that's commensurate with their schedule, which I don't know if that would be 10 wins. I think 9-3 on this schedule would be pretty damn impressive. And if they get to that, then I suppose they can win their 10. But I'd probably be more in line with saying if they're going to do it, they do it in 27. And part of me wants to see how 26 goes. If the 5-for-5 passes, then all of a sudden you've got Anthony Colandrea for a fifth year. And I think at that point you're starting to look at this thing getting where it needs to go. You need an older quarterback to win football games. And the idea that you can do it with a pup, it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic. Mendoza was what, a junior? He was a fourth-year guy. Carson Beck was a sixth-year guy. Trinidad Chambliss has played 34 years. And then
Saying is like the one sort of counter, but it's also Ohio State's
they
machine.
didn't win the game. Their offense wasn't very good.
Right.
That's not why they were good. Exactly. You're right. Yeah, Julian Sane was in the playoff, but he didn't have much to do with them being there.
Some people think he's a very boring quarterback.
He only has the best receiving core that's ever been known to man. So, he's got a first-round pick that just left. He's got a first-round pick that's going to be there. He's got a couple of really good running backs. He's got how many quarterbacks get gifted? 2 or 3 first-round picks. Not even just first-round picks. Top 5 picks. Top 4 picks. So, they surrounded him with literally everything, and they weren't very good on offense. They just weren't. And so it takes an old man to elevate a team to playoff status. And so what I would say is that if you win 10, you're in playoff territory, and you need an old quarterback to do it.
What?
And they will have that opportunity with Colandrea.
So what's a step forward for you? It doesn't even have to be a record. Like, what is a step forward for you in 2026? Like, what? I'm sure you'll see it when you'll know it when you see it kind of thing. But like, what kind of has to happen, or you think needs to happen for Nebraska to take this step forward now that they're made the bowl game the last couple of years, or 7-win team the last couple of years? What's next for you?
An offense that can run the ball downhill and can throw it on time and make plays and be decent. A defense that plays really hard, because that's what it's going to take with that group. Like, they're not going to just roll the ball out there and rush 4 and get home every 4th play the way Oregon will. And Oregon will. A defense that plays really hard. A special teams that is efficient. And a coaching staff that manages games right. Like, that piece, I think there's been times when the games have been managed really well, and then there were times where, and people have many debates about whether they think, for example, what they did against Maryland in 23 was the right move on 3rd and goal, or what they did against Wisconsin a week later was the right move. Whether but know the game that you're in and coach to that game. What are you doing trying to field punt inside the whatever it is, 10 against Iowa? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. And certainly don't do it twice. Things like that. Like understanding that the game that you're in and playing to that football game, I think at times Rules had a really good handle on that. And then, like you have these weird situations where the special teams coordinator seems to be on his own path, doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And I still can't quite figure out how that came to be in the bowl game. Like the head coach goes and says, listen, don't touch the ball again. Let it bounce. And unless that thing is kicked you at the 10-yard line, you are not taking it out. Touchback. For that to not happen, I'm not sure how that happened. So somewhere in there, and I think this is going to happen for what it's worth this year. I think Rule's going to be a lot more assertive and like, no, we're going to do what I want to do. And they will do what he wants them to do. But there were times I felt like, certainly last season, where it felt like they're trying to accomplish a couple of different things at once, when what they really need to do is just manage the game that's in front of them. And I didn't feel like that was always happening. I don't know. The Minnesota game was another puzzler where that was the night they decided they were going to be, 4 wide and throw the ball all over the yard. I don't know why some of the things happen the way they do, but I think that stuff's going to be under better control this year.
Okay, Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, I'll just leave it open for you. Nebraska's draft drought, going over a long period of time now. What is it mostly for you? What's the first? I mean, there's development, there's recruiting, there's just lack of winning football games, which draws less attention on the guys in your program. All these different things that result in what Nebraska's had as far as the draft output. What is it to you? Why has it turned out like this?
I think the last part is salient. I think that last piece that you just mentioned, NFL teams are drawn to teams that win games and thus get in larger games. And so Nebraska's relative absence from bowl games until 2 years ago and its absence from the playoffs is notable. And so I think that plays a hand in what happens in some of these games. I think they try to look at the biggest games and the best teams, and you see what happens. I think there's the turnover in coaching staff year over year has been part of the issue. So at Iowa, what Iowa's going to develop, and who Iowa's going to be. And at Nebraska, that's still evolving, because it's not just that the head coach is new, but the coordinator has been in there for only 2 years and so on and so forth. Some of it is, the way I would put it, is some of it is recruiting, but it's not that I don't think that they get good players. I think sometimes what will happen, and Schaefer knows as well, they've probably signed, 20 4-star defensive backs over the last 10 years, 12 years. I don't believe that any of those guys, unless Cam Taylor-Britt was a 4-star in some service, which I don't recall.
He's just a 3-star.
I don't think it. Yeah. So they haven't turned a 4-star defensive back into a draft pick. If you look at the guys that have been drafted, it's Cam, it's Stanley Jean-Baptiste, it's Alfonso Dennard, who I think was kind of a 3-star as well. Stanley certainly was. He was like a 2-star. And then Nate Gary, who notably was a 3-star. Like, he didn't get the 4-star. And so the defensive backs that they've recruited some highly rated guys who do not turn out to be NFL draft picks. And so I think that's part of it, is that you've got to recruit guys that fit your system and also develop at your place. I don't know how many defensive backs coaches they've had over the last 12 years, but it's probably somewhere around 7, 8, or 9. And that's not an exaggeration, because, they had Evan Cooper, then they had John Butler, then they had Addison Williams, and that was just 3 years. For one stretch, they had like 4 in 3 years because one of them passed away. So I think continuity in coaching, but also like who you recruit and how you develop them, I think it's great that they're able to sign 4 and 5 star DBs. I'd be hard pressed to say any of them are better athletes than Donovan Jones. And Donovan Jones is playing more football than some of those guys. And he's at Omaha North. And so sometimes the way that guys get ranked and where they get placed is dependent on where they're playing and how many scouts see them. But there might be guys around here that are just as athletic and just as good who also want to play for Nebraska, and they really want to play for Nebraska. So those would be the things that I would mention. Also, obviously, the offensive line development hasn't been as good as everybody would hope, and I think that's going to go in a better direction with Chief Wade. His hiring is maybe the thing that has me most optimistic about the next 2 years. His hiring and the potential that Calandria can be there for 2 years would be the two things that I would say are on the most optimistic end.
Interesting. Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. All right, Sam, we're out of time. We'll let you go. Appreciate it as always. Have a good rest of your week.
Take care, guys.
Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. That's a good conversation, a good topic. What are the things that are making you the most optimistic right now? Maybe it'll at least challenge some of you folks to think optimistically for at least 2.5 seconds.
We kind of did this back in February after the portal ended.
Yeah.
And arrived on roughly the same stuff that I think it would be all the way up until the season starts.
Probably. One of the things I think I mentioned was probably offensive line.
Yeah. The offensive line, certainly one of them. New pieces there.
So throw Jeep in there. I guess I don't know exactly what Sam is sort of getting at with the Jeep thing, but I think I'm that seems good.
I think his style of offensive line coaching is really well received. The success he had at Georgia Tech, a lot of it, the credit has just been given to what he did coaching wise.
And I definitely love a 2-year quarterback as compared to a 1-year quarterback. I mean,
it's interesting because Rob Orich would be a big part of why I think having a defensive system that's being brought in, very similar to what Tony White did when he first got here. You hopefully have a coach that can plug and play pieces that have shown success doing this elsewhere, that can happen pretty quickly for you.
On the other side, you have this from Sith Destroyer. No optimism. We ass and will be ass this year. The ceiling is winning the first 5 and finding an upset somewhere to get 6, and they haven't got an upset in 10 plus years.
I don't know that Rutgers or Illinois will count as upsets in November, but it's upsets because it is November, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe they just haven't been 2 and 10 November, right?
I also don't think Washington's an impossible game to win. There's more wins on this schedule than people will allow for, but Nebraska hasn't given them a reason to allow for.
Y'all ain't ready for that conversation yet. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back right at the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone. Not a great way to start the segment. Jeez.
Just like
Did you go to radio school, Connor? I don't think so. No, we got this yesterday from a variety of different outlets. I saw it first from USA Today Sports, an update to the Nebraska women's basketball case with a former player who was suing both the university and I believe Trev Alberts was in there as well, and Amy Williams, I think, was in the lawsuit as well. After there was a relationship with a player and a coach. An update to this yesterday. Like I said, first saw it from USA Today Sports. So I'll read it from the ESPN story. Former Nebraska women's basketball assistant Chuck Love acknowledged he had sex with former player Ashley Scoggin before she was dismissed from the team in 2022, according to court documents tied to a civil lawsuit Scoggin filed against Love and university officials. Scoggin's lawsuit, filed in 2024, contends her civil rights were violated in the lead up to her dismissal. Scoggin seeks a jury trial in Lincoln and unspecified damages. Love, in his initial response to the suit, denied ever having a sexual relationship with her, but Scoggin's attorney wrote in a March 17th filing at his February 5th, 2026 deposition, Love for the first time admitted he did have a sexual relationship with Ashley. And then there was not many further updates from that, but certainly like the reason it comes up again yesterday is, first of all, I think it's obviously important to the case. Second of all, it's an awfully grabby, sort of headline. And so that's what you saw. I don't know what to really make of it. I don't know what happens going forward. I really don't, considering Love is no longer a part of the and hasn't been for a very, very long time, been part of the women's basketball program.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest piece of it is if there's anything that happens with Amy Williams being involved in this, if there's a deposition, you find out how much she knew about it.
Sure.
If they can find proof that there was retaliation, any of that, like that becomes the bigger legal piece of it, that then becomes a bigger part of, okay, what happens to your head of women's basketball, So that's sort of because all the other players in this are no longer there. I mean, Trev Alberts is no longer there.
Yep.
Chuck Love is no longer there. So it's basically Amy Williams, and then the amount that if they reach a settlement, if Nebraska continues to fight the case and tries to get it thrown out, those are sort of the options that you're at. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to it at this point than waiting to see if it ultimately continues on to try.
So yes, it's a very, very
we're talking 2021? 2022, yeah.
So it's been a long time coming here.
Yep.
So this is now it hasn't hung over as far as like a day-to-day, thing that is thought about within the program or anything like that.
Again, because the people are all removed from it for the most part.
But it was a really, really difficult thing, obviously, at first, when the sort of, incident happened. And then it's been kind of just a dark cloud that's been hanging over ever since.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I kind of, to be honest, forgot about it until this headline resurfaced.
Uh-huh.
Like I was aware of it happening, and it was a big deal when it happened. I was aware when she retained counsel. I heard that the counsel that she retained is really good, and would present things to be relatively difficult for the university moving forward. So, and that seems to be the case here.
Yeah. So we'll see how, if any of this shakes out in a different way or whatever, but thought we'd pass it along and mention it. However poorly I can read headlines, I will take the opportunity to do that. All right. When we come back, Creighton baseball coach Mark Kingston is going to join us. We will talk about the Jays, their path to the postseason, the Miami Dolphins draft picks, a variety of different things. I mean, 3 Big East series remaining, including a complete game changer of a series this weekend against St. John's. If you're able to win a series this weekend, you're going to find yourself at the top of the Big East standings, and we'll see what happens after that. Everything falls in line after that. So we'll take a break. Coach Kingston will join us on the other side, right here in Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Sometimes I like to catch my co-host off guard, and during the break, I'll just ask him a random question. The one that I asked him during the break was, "Hey Schaefer, did you see this video of the guy who brought the bags of spaghetti into the Brewers game?" He did not really have a response except for to laugh, which was I thought appropriate.
It was just laughter.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
That's okay.
Just laughter.
If you see the guys, you wouldn't be surprised by the types of dudes who brought spaghetti into the Brewers game. Anyway, that's a great transition to our next guest, Great Net baseball coach Mark Kingston, who joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Coach, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good. Okay, should we get the Dolphins question going first?
Yeah, I know this is what you've been thinking about here as you're in the middle of your baseball season, but what was the highlight of the Dolphins draft for you over the weekend, which I'm sure you paid a lot of attention to with Butler in town?
Well, I gave it about 5 minutes of my attention, but the one thing I would say, I guess the highlight would be the getting the next Hall of Fame linebacker from Texas Tech, like they did about 20 years ago with Zach Thomas with Rodriguez this year. So I guess that's the highlight. First round pick was, boom or bust, as they say. So we'll see on that one. Big human being. We'll see if he's actually good.
It is always nice to have the draft pick that everyone loves universally.
Yeah. Everyone wanted
Jacob
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So wherever he went, everyone's like, what a great pick.
Right. And down in Miami, they all wanted Reuben Bain, and they passed on him. So we'll see how that works out.
Okay. All right. So how are we feeling today? Yesterday was not a great day for the Blue Jays on the diamond. How do we approach it, and how do we turn the page as a huge series is coming up this weekend?
Yeah, obviously the beauty and the pain of baseball is that you play so many games that, one, you're going to have some days like that because you play so many of them, and it was probably our worst performance of the year under the circumstances. The good thing is that baseball is a sport where you play so many games, you can bounce back quickly. And as we've talked about many times, the early season schedule provided a lot of opportunities to learn that resiliency and the ability to bounce back because we were playing such good teams. So look, it's, as I told the team afterwards, you don't forget it, but you also don't belabor the fact that we played poorly because the same team had won 11 out of their last 12 games and playing great baseball in all facets. So you chalk it up to just one of those days, but you also use it as a little bit of fuel for the fire as you prepare for the weekend.
Obviously a bit of a speed bump, yesterday, but what's the general feel around the club as you head into a big series with St. John's this weekend?
I mean, again, we've won 11 out of 12. We're currently sitting in first place. We've won 9 in a row, and, hopefully we win our next game in the Big East. But it's all in all, it's been a really good season. So we just need to keep it going. And again, the ability to not let one game turn into a bad trend, I think that's the key in baseball is you learn from it, you flush it quick, and you move on.
In a more general sense, Coach, as you look at the guys in the lineup, and we talked about this. I mean, we've talked about it a ton as the season has gone on. Does it feel like now it's getting to the point where the cylinders are starting to click a little bit, 1 to 9? I mean, there's still probably a couple guys that you're waiting for a little bit, but I mean the production is really coming now from the middle of the lineup. How do you feel like it's hitting as far as that every day 1 through 9?
Yeah, we're getting pretty darn close. Again, I think since the last game at UConn, we settled on what our lineup would be, and I think we've played that. If I'm not mistaken, we've played that lineup every game since.
Yep.
And guys have kind of settled into where they're going to hit in the lineup, what position they're going to play, and it served us very well. And I think again, when you face Miami and LSU pitching, then you come and face pitching in the Big East. It's not quite the velocity. I think guys feel very prepared for that. So our stats within the Big East right now are very, very good. I think we're fielding close to 990. We're hitting well over 300, and our ERA is in the low 3s. So so far so good. Again, we have to play St. John's this weekend, who's very good as well. They're 9-3 in the league. So I think we're about where we need to be. The key the key for us really now is having Wilson Mogers back, which is very important for our pitching, and hopefully having a healthy Matt Goldenbaum back as our closer, because now all the pieces kind of fit where they need to go.
Hey, as a manager, and I know this seems counterintuitive because, you know, the later in the season, the bigger the games seem to be, but how do you keep your team kind of loose so you don't hit that sort of grind or hit the wall as you get deeper into the year, especially with the younger players who are only going through this either the first time or earlier in their career?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the head coach needs to make sure he stays loose. And you know what? I'm guilty as anybody of, hey, as the games get bigger, you want to win them more. So I need to make sure that I do a good job of staying with our mantra of loose and focused. That's something we talk about all the time, is loose and focused, loose and focused. So I need to make sure that I'm practicing what I preach there. And then the second part of that is I think we have good leadership in that locker room. We've got a lot of key guys that were part of last year's championship run, the Capices, the Ben North, the Dieters, et cetera, Pinows, Mogers. We've got a lot of guys that have been through it. And I think it's just a matter of keeping that focused, and we're going to rely on those older guys a lot.
How does head coach Mark Kingston stay loose during the baseball year? Take us into it.
Well, I watch Seinfeld every night when I go to sleep, so
that'll do it.
I try to keep it light there, and then again, I have to. Most of the time, I think I can stay pretty loose, but then every now and then, I need to rely on my assistants to get me there, and then just consciously tell myself, relax. It's not life or death.
Okay, so you're in your second. Creighton baseball coach Mark Kingston's with us, by the way, here on Happer and Schaefer. Second turn now through the Big East. Haven't seen everybody for the second time yet, but you have a pretty good idea of how the standings sort of look, both this year and last. Same four teams at the top. As it stands right now, has there been anything that is jumped out to you on the second turn through? I know, Butler, the team that you guys played this past weekend was, quite a lot better than they were last year. Has there been anything that's taken you by surprise, either positively or negatively, about the conference the second time through here?
I think the biggest challenge, Connor, is it's really kind of an unbalanced schedule. Even though we all play the same amount of teams and we play the same teams, unlike when I was in the SEC, there were times where you could miss all the teams at the bottom and play all the teams at the top.
Right.
We all played the same 7 teams, but last year we were very fortunate that we played UConn, St. John's, and Xavier all at home. And this year we play them all on the road. And so it's kind of a luck of the draw. And obviously home games in the league are easier to win than road games in the league. So, I don't know how you go to a conference meeting and insinuate that we want to split up those teams home and road, because, by definition, you're saying the other teams aren't as good. So you can't do that. But it's just kind of luck of the draw that we have the other, what would be considered 3 best teams in the league right now, all on the road. So it'll be a challenge, but that's what makes it fun.
Well, I mean, how would you do that? How would you go about it? Because it feels like it's just going to stay like this in perpetuity until it doesn't. And it does feel like these are going to be the top 4 teams at the top of the league. You never know who could make a run at it, but the schedule is not due to change, right?
No, probably not. Unless you added a new team to the league and then they had to scramble it all up. It stays at an every other year type situation. So unless they just said every couple of years we're going to scramble it, I think it is what it is. And so occasionally you'll have a Georgetown has years where they're pretty good, and I think Seton Hall has had years where they've been really good. So I think it's not always going to be like this, but at least for the 2 years that I've been here, it seems like these are the best teams in the league. And, in terms of opponents for us being Xavier, UConn, and St. John's.
I know you don't have the luxury to sit around and kick around topics the way that Connor and I get to every morning, but have you had a chance to really think about what 5 for 5 might mean for college baseball and the way that it could affect things like the draft and the players that you might get back because of it that are older and things like that? Have you, even in the course of the season, had a chance to sort of think about what that might mean for the kind of program you want to build?
Well, you have to, and I'll tell you, it's crazy because every year it feels like they throw something new out
Right.
to have to handle from a roster management standpoint, from a compensation standpoint. Like every year over the last 3 or 4, it's just something new to blow up the system. And it seems like ever since COVID, every year you've had to do something that's pretty challenging, whether it's roster waivers or whether it's 5 for 5 or whether it's now teams can start paying players, or it's a roster limit, or there's kids that don't count against your roster. I mean, it's just a million different things. And so as coaches, we're always talking about it. You know, we have staff meetings on a regular basis, and we're always talking about it because it can determine who can be on your team next year, or how many more guys do you need to recruit, or in 2 years, we're going to have more guys in a certain class than we originally thought because they've been given an extra year. So it's just an ongoing process. It's fair and not fair to everybody at the same time. It's fair because they're trying to give everybody an equal playing field, but by changing all the time, it's putting teams in situations where they have to do things on their roster that they might not have to do. And then that falls down to the players and the kids coming out of high school. And so it's a Rubik's Cube. I tell people roster management is like trying to do a Rubik's Cube in the dark. I mean, you're never quite sure what the next move should be. So you just try to stay ahead of it as much as you possibly can.
Well, and then, there's a certain amount of this where you kind of have to play it by the day too. And it feels like it changes quite often. And individual players have decisions to make as far as their careers going forward. I was standing there talking to Tate Gillen yesterday, before you tried to kneecap me, by the way, and like trying to just sort through it all. I can't imagine what's on a guy like his plate right now, thinking about what his future could or could not look like based on something that's completely out of his hands.
Right. Yeah. And what I think you're referring to is he's planning on coming back next year since he had the shoulder injury this year. And I don't think he will be affected. I don't think he will be negatively affected by these new rules. I think we just need to figure out who on the team might be a benefit. Is it a Nate McHugh who now is a senior, but is he going to get his 5th year, or is it going to relate to guys just coming into college next year? Again, it's just always, we hope to get these information and these rulings in a timely fashion. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So yeah, it always feels, for the last 5 years, it feels like most coaches, most players, most parents are always kind of in a holding pattern of, okay, what's the next step? Is it going to go smoothly, or are there tough decisions that have to be made?
Okay, so big series, and Coach, thanks for doing this again. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big series coming up this weekend against St. John's. What do you guys need to do in order to be able to go out there and win that series against a team that's they're older, they're experienced. They've brought a lot of guys back from a team that was pretty dang good last year. So there's some familiarity there. What do they look like on paper to you, and what do you need to do to win it?
Yeah, they have good starting pitching. And again, as you mentioned, their offense is hitting 320 in the Big East games and in the league. So it's a proven older offense. We saw glimpses of that last year, and they have most of their guys back. And then it's a road series. You're playing in a foreign environment in New York City on a turf field, so it'll be different than playing at home. So, the big thing for us is that if we get good starting pitching, then everything kind of seems to fall into place after that. And really pleased with how our starters have been doing. Now, Wentz, Moggers. I mean, I think that's about as talented a group as you can have in our league. So just need them to continue to be consistent. Give us length. If they give us length, then 5 innings is good, 6 innings is great, and anything after that is outstanding. Because our bullpen has started to develop. Eli Nissen has been a godsend in his role switched to the bullpen. He's been outstanding out there. And then Goldenbaum, when he's healthy, is as good as it gets as a closer. So I just think we need to continue to get that good starting pitching, and that allows our offense to relax. And we're averaging, I believe, double digits in the league scoring. So we get good starting pitching, everything seems to fall into place after that.
Hey, speaking of starting pitching, me and John were laughing at this on Sunday. Can we get Moggers a hat that fits him so he doesn't lose it every single pitch?
Well, my fear now is that he took a haircut on Sunday, as part of our versus cancer day, that it could get even worse. So we might have to resize all the players after Sunday.
Yeah, it's a different looking team, that's for sure. Really cool tradition that's brewing with you guys over there for the versus cancer game. Of course, rallying around Billy a little bit there, and that was fun to watch again on Sunday. All right, Coach, we'll let you go. Appreciate it. Safe travels out to the East Coast, and come back with a couple wins.
All right. Thanks, guys. Couple. What are you talking about? A couple?
Yeah.
One at a time for 3, hopefully.
One at a time. That's right. As Mark Kingston, the head coach of the Blue Jay baseball team, joins us. He really is a one at a time guy. Because I'll ask him about like, hey, what do you think about this? He's like, one at a time.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Do you think he'll go to Monk's when he's out there?
Oh, you get some soup?
No, Monk's is the
that's the cafe.
That's the cafe. Yeah.
Does that even exist?
And so it's the side of a building of an actual cafe.
That's right.
I've been there.
I've been to the
side of the building.
I've seen the actual. Yeah. Okay.
No, the exterior shot of it.
I've never felt the pull to go in there because I've always thought like, what am I going to see when I go in?
Well, I don't know that
it's not the real. No, it's not where they filmed it.
It's just the exterior of it.
Right.
So no, there's nothing for you to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
literally the side of it.
Yeah.
I saw it in either 2014 or 2019.
I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot of, getting to Manhattan on that trip.
I have something for us. I received a text about Fong's. If you'd like to hear more about this place,
the
in
Des Moines Chinese pizza place.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fong's in Des Moines is awesome. Crab Rangoon pizza, potentially unrelated to the awesomeness. Bathroom was occupied for the entire time we were there. Cops show up. Someone was taken out covered in white powder. Probably not flour.
Dear God.
Yeah. He still loved it.
What's going on at Fong's?
I have no idea. But I was excited to read that text.
All right. That's a good scouting report. You got to come armed with the information.
Stay out of the bathrooms.
That's for sure. All right. Let's take a break. Lauren Michaelelsson will join us on the other side. It is Wednesday, right?
Yeah. Fresh from Florida, Lauren Michaels.
That's right. Okay. Awesome. We'll do that when we come back on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Lauren Michaelelsson.
I'm hoping you guys can wake me up a little bit this morning.
Lauren Michaelelsson.
I will not feel bad for any of you in Omaha.
Lauren Michaelelsson.
So whenever, hits the fan.
Lauren Michaelelsson. KETV Channel 7.
No other thing I'd rather be doing at 9:15, 9:20 in the morning than talking to you two.
Lauren Michaelelsson on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
I am ready to get the heck out of here.
Well, nice. She's back from getting the heck out of here. Lauren Michaelelsson from KETV. Back on the beat last night at Haymarket Park. Lauren, hello. How are you?
Good morning, you guys. That open will never get old. That
great.
wakes me up. It's great.
It really does.
Yep.
It gets you to the right place.
We got morning Michaelelsson here.
Yeah, it
Good.
was a late night in Lincoln.
So yeah, how was a couple days off, by the way? How was I saw the ocean picture.
Yeah, that photo. I
and
sent her a text and I was like, that
it
made
was
me jealous.
Yeah, it was a little bit infuriating actually. But how was it for you?
It was perfect weather in Florida. Lovely trip. Was welcomed back to rainy, dreary, cold Nebraska weather yesterday.
Reality.
So it was a little bitter, but was a great trip all in all.
Okay, so yeah, you're back in Nebraska baseball. Goes for a Tuesday night win last night, and they end up walking it off. We're starting to get more and more baseball. I feel like the chatter we're using Nebraska baseball as a topic. Maybe it's in the absence of any football news or whatever it might be.
We're also baseball people.
We are also baseball people. I feel like we're talking about it a lot more this spring, which is setting up for a really exciting postseason run here. What do we think of them as they get closer and closer to May here?
Yeah, well, after last night, I think they're now up to 12 in the RPI, and there's a couple. I think I was looking this morning. D1 Baseball America for sure have Lincoln hosting a regional, and I think has them as a 12 seed overall. So we should be talking about Nebraska baseball a lot and baseball in general a lot because it's a big deal right now. And this team's fun. That was their 5th walk-off of the season. And then actually we look back, that was their 9th walk-off in the last calendar year. So this team's just got the right makeup. And hey, in the wise words of Rhett Stokes, the motto, nuts and guts. Said that on camera last night.
Nuts and guts.
And now we're going to roll with it. I think that's fantastic.
These guys are not afraid to say stuff on camera.
They
clearly.
say stuff. They definitely say stuff.
They've had some enjoyable post-game moments this year.
For real. No, they're a fun team. And it's kind of just, I think the biggest word around the program right now for softball too is simple. It's just belief. They may be down. They had some missed opportunities yesterday, but you kind of just had a feeling they were going to pull it off. You kind of just knew. And I think they know too. So they've been good in the midweek for the most part. They've struggled on some Fridays, but I think there's a lot of excitement brewing in Lincoln. I think it's going to be a really special scenario, hopefully, when they host in Lincoln.
You spent a lot of time in those two stadiums here this spring already, and you've probably seen as the weather, ebbs and flows, the crowds get bigger and bigger. Do you feel like more of a buzz with both of these programs than in other times in your tenure or just being in Haymarket Park?
Yeah, for sure around baseball. Really around both. They've continuously sold out both stadiums, and there is a buzz around. People are really into it. There's a guy next to me on the concourse last night absolutely losing his mind, screaming and hollering and intoxicated, which is what you're supposed to be doing.
That's great.
It was great. It was great to see. Yeah, get into it, chirp on the umps and have some fun. But I think baseball and softball in the state are in really good places, not only at Nebraska, but with Creighton and Omaha as well. And I think, sometimes we spend so much time in the spring talking about football, which is fine, but it is nice to see the spring sports get the love they deserve. And heck, they have the talent and the records to prove that they have a really good thing going on all the way around.
You had another person join the Kendi tree recently. Tell us about your new coworker. We're excited. And if there's anything that we could razz him about while we're out there, please let us know here in this very interview.
Noah Sacco, he's an Omaha guy, so he's going to fit right in. He's from Omaha.
Good.
He went to Miller North. played baseball at Millard North, went on to play college baseball at a smaller school, I think in Indiana. Sampson? I can't remember for sure where. I need to know that. But great guy, and spent a year in Sioux City, 2 years in Sioux City, spent a little time in Wichita, so he's a Midwest guy through and through, and is just so thrilled to be home now.
Exciting. Simpson, it looks like. I just pulled up his Twitter
Oh, yeah.
profile. Simpson.
There you go.
All right, baseball guy, Millard North guy. We are a little bit concerned about the Millard North media mafia taking over the
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of Millard North people. So yeah, if you ever you're not, I mean, about the high school landscape because you've been covering it for a while around here, Lauren, but there's secretly a lot of Millard North alums that are poking around in the media. So if you ever want to just get under some people's skins, just say I don't know, go Wildcats, or talk about how Millard North hasn't produced anything since Eric Crouch or something. Whatever.
Is it
about
Wildcats or Patriots that would set it off more?
That's a great question. I don't
'Cause
know.
I think
Right
Millard
now,
South, Millard
Patriots.
North has been around longer.
Lauren would know better. Which is a bigger rivalry, Millard North, Millard West, or Millard?
Millard South.
It's Millard
Okay.
South.
Okay,
Yeah.
Joey knows. Joey's on top.
Yeah,
All right.
Joey's ready to jump in there. So what's okay? That has me thinking. You cover a lot of this. What's the best local rivalry game to be at amongst the schools? What environments
that's a good one.
do you like to be amongst in the high school setting?
That's a good question. I don't I think any God, you can put me on the spot here now. Rivalry, it depends. It depends on the guys. For football, depends who's playing.
The quality of the
you
team.
have. I love anytime there's a handful or one or two Iowa commits on a team playing some Husker commits, because then you have some Ferentz maybe comes out, and then you have some we've had Barthel on the sidelines for some games that's always fun because they're wearing their Husker Iowa cleats and they're a little bit jacked about that. So I don't know. I think honestly I don't think rivalries are lost at the high school level, but it is changing. So there's less weight involved. But I think it's still at a good spot. What we're laughing about, and we were talking about the other day, is the fact that am I going to be spending every Friday night at Millard South this year?
Yep.
Which
I think so.
I
Sorry.
give you a special
Exactly.
spot that you just where you can set up or where you can put your stuff. Maybe just give you a parking space, that kind of thing.
It couldn't be any easier, which is what it is. It's what it is. But how unique! I mean, I cannot imagine what Friday nights are going to look like this fall, because I mean, you can go and see Nebraska 2.0 right here in Omaha. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I wish there was a way. And it's so those Friday nights. I mean, I'm thinking about it already. Just the weekend full of football with Friday nights. Going around to all the. I mean, what do you make 6 stops a night, and then bring it back in at the end, and then there's a football game to cover all day on Saturday, and then sit around or whatever and watch the NFL on Sunday. Are we getting back in the mindset of doing that at this point? You talking about high school football kind of trip my brain on it a little bit. I'm like, whoa, I'm not ready for that yet.
No, can you believe we're only a few months out from that? No, I'm not ready. We're going to have a really fun baseball, softball postseason, College World Series, and then you think about, and then you get through media days. I feel like a Big Ten media days is always an indicator that it's talking season, that football season's here, but that's also when our minds kind of shift to, okay, get ready for what will be a very constant grind for the next couple of months, because things are very planned to the T. Our weeks look very similar in football season, at least from our TV standpoint. We have a very meticulous plan when it comes to coverage, which is a good and bad thing. But it may look a little bit different this year with Nebraska moving to afternoon practices. I still am not sure what our schedules will look like media-wise covering them.
Oh.
Have you considered what it would look like if Nebraska baseball makes the College World Series?
Ugh!
I know it's a nightmare for Happer, but everybody else seems to be interested in it.
It would be, I mean, that is a bucket list for me. I would love to, I mean, I've covered 4 College World Series now, and which is not a lot compared to some of you, but I would love that. It would be unbelievable, incredible atmosphere. So when I was in Kansas City last week and talking to a couple Royals guys and Pete Alonso for some CWS stories. I also caught up with Ben McDonald, who is an analyst for ESPN, calls the CWS, and I asked him about some of his early picks to make the field. And he says Nebraska is his biggest sleeper pick to make the College World Series. He loves how scrappy they are and kind of what we just talked about, that belief they have and think they're firing. He thinks they're firing on all cylinders. And he thinks they have a great shot to be there. And in his words, if Nebraska were to make it to Omaha, it would be unbelievable. The city would burn down. So it would just be so exciting, and I would love for that to happen.
That's what I'm worried about. I just want our city to
Would
survive.
it take the streetcar with it? Problem solved.
I hope so.
I just want our city to survive the Nebraska making the College World Series. Before we let you go, Lauren, congratulations for being a nominee for the Sports Media Person of the Year.
Congrats
on the Oscars from the Omaha Sports Commission. Congratulations, well deserved.
Very deserved.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We'll see you everywhere, along with many of your fellow nominees as well. Always working hard. So, Lauren, congrats. Thanks for joining us as always, and we will talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Lauren Michaelelsson from KETV.
Ben McDonald, big on nuts and guts.
Ben McDonald wants the non-Connor World Series. I can't believe that. As a College World Series guy,
I have to imagine the split
World
of the
Series.
Connor World Series and the College World Series, including Nebraska, is like 70-30. Something like that.
Wait,
Maybe
70-30 in favor of who?
70-30 in favor of the College World Series, including Nebraska.
Amongst who?
Just straw poll it. Anybody.
What do you mean anybody?
Any citizen of Omaha.
Of Omaha.
Sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Of Omaha, definitely. It's probably more than that, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
But
I allowed that there's
what
probably
if you took a straw poll of people in Atlanta, Georgia? What would they think?
They would ask what the College World Series is.
They'd probably
and then
say,
you'd be like, hey, your baseball team down the street at Georgia Tech is number 2.
yeah,
And they would
Burris
say,
is going to be hitting dollars.
I watched the Braves. What happened to the Superstation?
All of these would be great questions. But then if you told them that here's your options, either Nebraska's in the College World Series or they're not, they're probably taking not, because it gives them a better chance for Georgia Tech to make the College World Series in Georgia.
Or they're just like, oh, that sounds nice. I'll go back to not caring.
I guess that'd be fun. I guess it'd be fun one way or the other. So we will see which one we get, either the College World Series or the Connor World Series. And we'll take another step to finding out when we come back. Our bracket sim of the day. We could afford to get, we could really dive into our bracket.
I
sim
learned
for
yesterday
today.
there's percentage chances for I didn't know that
There is.
when I looked at it.
There is. Creighton found the RPI a few spots yesterday, so we'll see what that does to them. Nebraska went up another spot, I think, or went up to.
I think they held steady for the most part.
I was looking at it a few minutes ago.
She said they were up to 12. I think they had a high of 11 after the weekend.
Really? I saw them at 13 yesterday.
So I thought they were at 11.
They're at 11 right now.
Yeah, so
they're at 11 right now. So Nebraska did go up 2 spots.
Look at that.
They're past Kansas. They're blood rival.
Whoa.
So
what happens if Nebraska, Kansas super regional while you're in Kansas City and it's in Lawrence? Would Lanny just get married at the Kansas super regional?
I'd be concerned for Lanny. Yeah. I'll be at my friend Lanny's wedding.
I mean, how many times have you said I'll be concerned for Lanny?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's common.
He's a big man. He can make his own decisions,
Sure.
but he really, really loves Nebraska baseball.
Yes, he does.
So I don't know. Well, his fiance might be a little
Do
disappointed.
you think he loves Nebraska baseball more than he hates quarterbacks as a persona and a position?
Yes.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Both of
those are fundamental
They run
DNA
hot.
things. Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Bananas and bangers. If you let us know your walk-up song, maybe it's the Boys of Summer.
The original?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the new one.
I don't know how new it is.
Maybe it's the Rooster.
The Rooster.
Yeah.
Like the song
The Rooster. You know he ain't gonna die.
I like the first 50 seconds of Joker and the Thief.
Okay, nice.
Just
there you go. There's your banger. Where's your banana?
Probably.
Let us know, and you could win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Savannah Bananas play at Memorial Stadium on June 11th, and $200 and a free duct cleaning from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. A $900 value free duct cleaning, ladies and gentlemen. Enter online 1620thezone.com, powered by McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. And your song, your walk-up song, can make it on our cool little graphic that we have going right now.
Yeah, it's been
as
updated.
Well. Have you seen our graphic? It's
beautiful.
Incredible. By the way, a couple things from you all from throughout the show. My garage door just opened again. I don't like when this I don't like getting notifications for things that
you can turn it off.
I know. I probably will. This is a new thing for me, though. Anyway, we were talking about Sam was talking about having an old quarterback earlier. Sure. Kyle says, I think having a good quarterback is more important than having an old quarterback.
What if it's an old good quarterback?
Well, Kyle is arguing that he is not an old good quarterback. He's just an old quarterback.
We don't know if he's good yet, though. I'm not
That's what he's saying.
We know.
We don't know whether he's good or bad, is what you're saying.
I can allow that he might be an old bad quarterback.
I agree.
I tend to think he's probably going to be an old net positive quarterback, but maybe stop short of being good to great.
I'm very, very interested. Like I've always said this, I've been very consistent on it, and I've seen it happen long enough. If you have a guy for 1 year and you get him back for your second year, that is, and they came in the transfer portal as a highly coveted guy, always is better. Almost always, every 100% of the time, it is better in their second year. That's just how it works. Whether it's more responsibility that gets put on their shoulders or more comfortable. I think that's most of it. By the way, Fremont Fred wrote in about the text that you got from the Fong's bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
The person in the Fong's bathroom definitely did not consider the ramifications of their actions, which is a good callback to earlier when Schaefer said that
Don't
word.
Don't be stuck between two words that both start with the same first letter.
Or you could create a new word and be innovative. It's up to you.
That's the English language.
Yeah.
Our bracket sim of the day brought to you by pairratings.com. So they have Nebraska as a 11 seed hosting the Lincoln Regional and hosting the following teams. This is a pretty common occurrence now. Defending national runners-up, Coastal Carolina.
Okay.
Vanderbilt, home of the Vandy Whistler.
Vandy was common yesterday.
And Southeastern Louisiana.
That was common yesterday.
Nebraska did not make it out of the regional in this simulation. They lost to Cam Flukie and Coastal Carolina.
Ooh.
Sad. Creighton goes to Oxford, where
Connor's happy.
It's good for me. Yeah, that's a good one for me. They play 1 seed Ole Miss, 2 seed Oregon, 3 seed Cal Baptist, and Creighton is the 4. Creighton does not make it out of that regional. They lose to Ole Miss, and this creates a Connor World Series of UCLA, Georgia Tech, Oregon State, Georgia, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Texas.
Rate it.
With UCLA and Georgia in the final. Do I rate the result or rate the
you
series?
Rate the field, the 18 field.
Pretty good. I would like a little bit more underdog. I'm glad Georgia Tech's in there. I'm glad UCLA's in there. A little too SEC, just ever so slightly too SEC heavy. If you could trade out Georgia for a mid-tier 3-4 seed from a smaller conference, that's a pretty good one. So give me a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. I'm
Good.
probably a 6.25.
You're not a fan. Now we go to the projected bracket for our bracket sim of the day, where Nebraska again hosts the Lincoln Regional, and they welcome in the Tennessee Volunteers as the 2, UTSA as the 3, and Bethune-Cookman as the 4.
What's their percent chance here?
53.
Okay.
53% chance to make it out. Creighton goes to Gainesville to
You're
play
excited.
Florida, Florida State, and Kent State.
Whoa.
Says Creighton has a 9% chance compared to their 3-seed rival, Kent State. 7%.
I just don't think Creighton's going to be a 4.
I kind of feel like Creighton's going to be a 3 as well.
Yeah. This is obviously assuming that they win their conference tournament.
Yeah, right. Let's simulate it. We're running the sims. Okay, so Creighton doesn't get out, and neither does Nebraska. Wow, this is a bad bracket sim day for all of us.
Peter was just pulling Nebraska in the College World Series every time he tried yesterday.
Now this is a Connor World Series.
All right, let's have it.
UCLA, Missouri State.
Okay, I like it already.
North Carolina.
Okay.
Jacksonville State.
I'm in. The Jacksonville State logo on this site.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. Alabama,
Okay.
Tennessee, Wake Forest, Texas.
Yeah, I like this.
With a Texas UCLA final, but ignore that. Texas wins the national championship. Ignore that. But we have a Missouri State, North Carolina, Jacksonville State, UCLA half of the bracket, which is very exciting to me.
Yeah.
And then the winner will play either an SEC team or Wake Forest in the final. And in this case, it's Texas. That's a good Connor World Series. Give me 8.5 out of 10.
I'm easily in at an 8.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm in at an 8.
Missouri State making that run.
Do you remember when they took Nebraska out and that being a big deal?
Yes, that would have been.
And people were mad because they flipped over the on deck circle had like the Nebraska logo on it, and they flipped it over. And Nebraska fans, as they were, or they often got mad about this sort of thing. I don't remember which year this regional was.
Vaguely, that's pretty good, Schaefer. I vaguely remember something like that. Let me.
2004.
I'm trying to go to their regional appearances, but then I just ended up in the complete wrong place. Yeah, I do remember. Like they've lost to a bunch of different teams, obviously in regionals because they've made it a lot over the years. But yeah, there was one there where they lost to Manhattan. That was a bad one.
Yep, that was 2006. That was Manhattan
bad
and San Francisco were the same year.
San Francisco. John writes in, if Vandy comes to Lincoln, the brown shirts of the People's Republic of Lincoln need to arrest the Whistler and send him to the gulag.
2003, they made the call.
Send them to the bottoms.
Missouri State?
Yeah. So it would have been that year.
Out of the Missouri Valley Conference.
They were in the Lincoln Regional, and then they beat Ohio State.
That would have been Southwest Missouri State.
Yep, that's when they were Southwest Missouri State.
SMS. All right, that'll do it for us today on the show and our bracket sim of the day. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is coming up next.